Okay, meeting's officially being recorded. I'll go back to sharing the agenda sheet. All right. We have officially called to order the SFSS Council meeting at 4:41 p.m. Wednesday, May 24, 2023. I'd like to start off with a territorial acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the SFSS is located on the traditional unceded territories of the Coast Salish peoples, including the Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, Coquitlam, and Katzie nations. Unceded means that these territories have never been handed over, sold, or given up by these nations, and we are currently situated on occupied territories. Very nice. So now we can move on to a roll call of attendance. If I'm assuming everyone can safely see my screen, but once we go through roll call, I'm going to call out a title. The first one on the line is Archaeology Student Society. And then once I call them out, the person says their pronouns and then their access needs, and then maybe a little intro if they so feel like it. This is our first council meeting. I prefer things to be a bit lax and informal, if we can. Okay, let's start. Archaeology Student Society.
Hi, sorry I'm late. My name is Saniha, pronouns she, they. Access needs, I just left work and I'm about to hit the road to go home. So I'm gonna be on chat for a while. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Saniha. Bachelor of Environment Student Union.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tiana. She, her pronouns. All my access needs are met. This is my third year back as a counselor, so I'm excited for another year. And I want to welcome everyone that's new and also welcome everyone back that's back again.
Thank you. Oh, Neuroscience Student Society.
Hi, everyone. My name is Arthi, pronouns are she, her. And as for my access needs, I'll have to leave the meeting at 6 today because I have another commitment after.
Understood. Thank you. Biomedical Physiology and Kinesiology Student Association.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jovan, he, him. All my access needs have been met, and this is my very first time attending any SFSS meetings.
This is my first time chairing an SFSS council meeting as well. We're very glad to have you here. And then, oh, Computing Science Student Society.
Hi, my name is Mabel. My pronouns are she, her. All my access needs are met.
Thank you. Data Science Student Society. Data Science. If opening the mic is inaccessible, pasting an intro inside the chat is perfectly fine as well.
Yes, but they're not in the room.
Oh, not in the room. That's unfortunate. We will move to Earth Science Student Union. Hi, y'all. My name is Eden. He, him, his. Glad to be here for round 2. Fantastic. Economic Student Society.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rafid. My pronouns are he, him. All my access needs have been met, except I'm driving right now, but I should be home in like 30 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Stay safe. Engineering Science Student Society.
Hey, everyone. My name is Tony Kuliath. He, him pronouns. All my access needs are met. It's my first time attending an SFSS meeting.
Fantastic. I assure you, Tony, you are in safe hands. Environmental Science Student Union.
Hi, everyone. I'm Grayson Bark, he, him pronouns. All my access needs are met today. I joined council in September of last year, and I'm looking forward to a new session. So hi, everyone. Welcome. Great to be here.
Thank you. Okay. Film Student Union. Is Film Student Union present in the meeting?
Yes, I'm right here. Hi, my name is Sophie Bazio. My pronouns are she, he, they, so any pronouns. It's also round 2 for me, so welcome to all the new counselors.
Okay, glad to have you back. Geography Student Union.
I don't believe we have them.
Geography's on site. Understood. Okay. We will move to Health Science Undergraduate Student Union.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ishika Rathore. My pronouns are she, her, and I have met all the access needs. And this is my first time ever being a counselor, and this is my first meeting.
Thank you kindly. We're very glad to have you. History Student Union.
Hi, my name's Emilio. All my access needs are met. I do have academic commitments and I'm quite under the weather right now. So just as an FYI, I'll probably have to leave early. Thank you.
Understood, Emilio. Duly noted. Indigenous Studies Student Union. Is Indigenous Study here? Oh. Cognitive Science Student Society had responded. They are present in the meeting, the laptop, that's perfectly fine. Thank you kindly anyway. We were at. Is Indigenous Studies here?
No, I didn't see them.
Uh-oh. Interactive Arts and Technology Student Union. IATSU. It's going twice. I do not think they are here either. In that case, we will go to Mechatronics System Engineering. Are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi, everyone. My name's Aiden. This is my first time attending these meetings. So yeah, Mr. President, I'm gonna need your help. Just getting everything set up.
No worries. No worries at all. Don't even stress of it. Molecular Biology and Biochemistry Student Union.
Hi, I'm going to speak for Sam. Sam is just coming home from work right now, so he might be a bit late.
Oh, they also put intro in the chat.
Right. Sam also put into the chat. Sam, he, him, his. Glad to meet you all. Very glad to meet you as well. Philosophy Student Union.
Hi, my name is Nava. My pronouns are she, her, and all my access needs are met, although I might be in transit like halfway through the meeting. So I'll use the chat, but other than that, I'm all good.
Okay, understood. Thank you. Well, we ended at philosophy. So now Political Science Student Union.
Hi guys, my name's Aaliyah. I use she, her pronouns. All my access needs are met, and this is also my first ever SFSS meeting.
Okay, thank you. Psychology. Do you have psychologists?
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah, great. My name is Hillary. My pronouns are she, her. All my access needs are met.
Thank you. Science Undergraduate Society. Do we have science undergraduate in the meeting?
Yes, we had Catherine, but I think they were having some troubles with connections. Let me take a look again and see if there's.
No, I recall seeing Catherine
Yes,
outside
Catherine is
the
here.
meeting as well.
No, Catherine's here.
I will cautiously mark her down as present for the time being and move on to Society of Arts and Social Sciences. Arts and Social Sciences.
Hi, yeah, my name is Rajdev. Pronouns are he, him. My access needs are met, and this is my first semester as a counselor.
Understood. Thank you. Software Systems Student Society.
Are you seeing this?
Is software systems inside the meeting? No. Okay. I will move on to statistics and actuarial science.
Everyone. My pronouns are she, her. This is my first time joining this meeting as well.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Southside's gonna have a meeting at 5:30, so I'm gonna be in two meetings at the same time. So, yeah. Nice to meet you all.
My condolences, man. That will be noted. Sustainable energy. Sustainable energy engineering.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andrew. My pronouns are he and him, and at the moment, I'm working with 2 devices, so please be patient. I am here.
Got it. Understood. Okay, that takes care of that. Now, constituency group representatives, which all look to be vacant at the moment, except for, SOCA.
Hi,
Are we here?
everyone. Yes, hi. My name is Yaye. My pronouns are she, her. My access needs are met. And I'm the new SOCA counselor. And this is my first time on council, so I'm excited.
Okay. I'm excited as well. Very glad to have you here. We now move on to affiliated student groups. SFPIRG. Are you present? Understood. Okay. Now we can get to the executive committee. President. Hello, everyone. My name is Liam Fang. I'm the president. My pronouns are he, him, his. My access needs are just fine. I am honored to be chairing you all today. VP Internal and Organizational Development.
Hi everyone, my name is Leonarda. My pronouns are she, hers. I am the VP internal. This is as well my first ever. Wait, JK, what am I saying? Never mind. It's not my first ever council meeting. I don't know why I said that. Anyhow, me and Jad, VP Finance, are both in Montreal now, and we're like a little jet lagged. But otherwise everything's super fine. Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah.
Thank you kindly for that. VP Finance.
Hi everyone, my name is Jad. I am your VP Finance for the next this upcoming calendar year for the SFSS. Pronouns are he, him, his. And like Leonardo said, we are both in Montreal right now on an exec meeting, kind of, so to say. But yeah, this is my first SFS meeting with you guys, and I look forward to it.
Excellent. Acting VP University and Academic Affairs.
Hello, everyone. My name is Thomas. I'm VP UAA. This is my first council meeting. My access needs are met, and my pronouns are he, him, his.
Thank you. VP External and Community.
Hi, everyone. My name is Navleen. You can call me Nancy if that's easier. My pronouns are she, her. My access needs are met, and it's nice to meet everyone.
Thank you, Nancy. VP Equity and Sustainability.
Hi, everyone. My name is Priyanka. I'm the VP Equity and Sustainability for this upcoming year. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm excited to work with everyone on council this year.
Thank you. VP Events and Student Affairs.
Hi everyone, my name's Ayo. Pronouns are he, him, and all my access needs are met. The VP of Student Affairs, and I'm excited to work with you guys this year.
Very nice. Thank you. Oh, now we can move on to society staff. Board organizer. Not quite present at the moment. I know facilities manager is not going to. Oh, temporary operations organizer.
Hi, all. Sindhu here. Pronouns she, her, hers, and all my access needs are met.
Thank you. Policy, research, community affairs. Administrative assistant. No. Oh.
In the chat.
Oh, never mind. My bad. I see. Thank you, Samar. All right. I say we can move on to consent agenda now.
Yeah, you should go read it out loud, right?
All right. Be it resolved to adopt the consent agenda by unanimous consent. So basically what this is in a nutshell is that there are previous meeting minutes from past council, exec, and various, committee meetings.
There's just some people putting their attendance in the chat. I think there's been Love's talking to Sindhu. I think we can do their intros and stuff. So Paranjali, Catherine, and a couple others.
Oh, right. I see. Oh, there are quite a few.
Yeah, why don't you start with Paranjali here? I have it for you.
Oh, wait, no, your laptop's not on. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We can start with, because there are quite a few intros inside the text that I have missed. We can start with Paranjali's intro. Paranjali Shiro, pronouns, all access needs are met. Thank you, kindly, noted. I'm also declaring that I have noted that Emmanuel from the RHA Association is also present. Lynn Nguyen, also here, Catherine, and Jennifer Hung from Data Science. Got it. Let it be officially noted that they are all present. Fantastic. We were on the consent agenda, is that right? Fantastic. Be it resolved to adopt the consent agenda by unanimous consent. Right, like I was saying, basically there were past council and committee meetings that need to have their minutes to be received and filed due to various events. Basically, we never really got around to it time-wise, and it's important that we are doing this right now. And it all comes down to one very simple voting procedure. So for very universal and easily agreeable motions like this, I'd basically be seeking unanimous consent when it comes to voting. So for example, in this case, I don't really need anyone to move or second. I can just say I'm seeking unanimous consent. If you wish to dissent, you may use the raise hand function in the chat, or you can, voice your vote out loud. I will mark that thing down. We can start now. Be it resolved to adopt the consent agenda by unanimous consent. I'm seeking unanimous consent. If you wish to dissent, please do so. That's fantastic. Seeing none, I would say that this would carry unanimously. We can now move on to the adoption of the agenda, which would basically be, would we be agreeing that the format of today's agenda schedule would be exactly as it shows inside the PDF documents that I'm assuming everyone's got? There's one small thing I would like to shift inside the agenda. 1 minute.
Mover second first. You move and seconder first, then you can discuss.
Oh, right. But before I start amending an agenda, I would move in second for this motion. So I move. May I get a seconder?
History.
History seconds. Be resolved to adopt the agenda as presented. And now I will begin amending. Is that right? Okay, fantastic. I have an amendment to make because we have a SOCA presentation here. They have a presentation for a wellness retreat. They also have their own motion for this regarding it. And because it's at the very, very end, and we have presenters and people who I'm assuming have the intent to answer questions and stuff like that, I am moving to move their motion, which is currently 11.3, and I would like to move it right after 10.4, which is the Migrant Student United motion. Basically, we're going to be dealing with that motion earlier, and so the presenters wouldn't have to stay for the full course of the entire meeting. Yeah, I'd say that's just about the only amendment I've got.
So you move for seconder for that.
I move for that amendment. May I get a seconder?
History.
History also seconds. That's fantastic. So now be it resolved to adopt the agenda as amended.
No, so you have to take a vote on your amendment and then see if there's other amendments.
Oh, my bad. I made an amendment. We're going to be voting on the amendment. I'm seeking unanimous consent. If anyone wishes to dissent, please do so. Seeing none, now the amendment passes unanimously.
Yeah, now you're gonna see if anyone else has any amendments.
So now I voiced my amendment that I'm trying to make. I'm ready to hear if anyone else has any amendments. Oh, Leonardo, I see you have a list in the chat. Oh, yes, I remember that. Oh, business 10.6. Old business 10.6.
Yeah, so it's two different things. So we need to strike old business 10.6, and then we need to amend business item 11.1 to say 2023 to 2024 rather than the last council year, and that's all.
I agree, that is a good catch. I will keep that in mind. I move.
Leah will be moving that.
Right, we will have a move in second for this one as well. Yeah, would you move?
Yes, sir.
May I get a seconder? Yeah, I second. So now we would be voting, seeking.
Discussion then voting, yes.
No, I don't think we need a discussion for this one. Voting, seeking unanimous consent. I'm assuming no dissent. Fantastic. This amendment would pass unanimously. This also reminds me of another amendment I'm making down at past new business. Basically, I want to strike item 11 points. Strike 11 points. Why? Wait a second. Leah, could you remind me which motion we would have that basically changes our council meeting times in the future?
It's somewhere in there. Oh,
It's
11.11.
11.11, that's right. Okay. We have basically two motions that are advocating for the same thing. I say we strike 11.11 and we only keep 11.12.
I don't think that's the case.
No.
Are you sure?
Well, 11.12 is
Yeah, because we have to
basically the same thing, isn't it?
no, because we have to ask them like, oh, when would be a good time to hold council meetings? So that's 11.11, and then 11.12 would be to actually change it in the council policies. So it's two different things. It's not the same thing.
Any moving parts to this? Understood. Okay, in that case.
IO listed.
IO, you have a list?
Yeah, I move that we strike motion 11.12 and with the assumption that not everybody will be able to fill in the when to meet in this particular meeting. And or rather than strike, we postpone it to the next council meeting.
We postpone to the next one.
Yes.
All right. So we would only do 11.11. We would not do 11.12.
Yes.
Leah, you have a list?
Yeah, sure, we can do that. It's just like for changing the things in the council policies, it would be a little bit more broad so that like it wouldn't. Yeah, Cindy can talk about it a bit more.
Cindy's your list?
Yeah, for sure. So I think 11.12 is to change the council policies because right now it is restricted to only having meetings on Wednesday at 4:30 to 8:30. And so this motion is just making it a suggestion rather than a requirement. And I suppose 11.11 is just asking for when to meet. But with that being said, I think if we do strike 11.11, it's kind of a given that every semester we want to ask counselors what time works best for them. That's already included in 11.12. So 11.12 is to change the actual policies to allow you to have a different meeting time. So if you do send out a when to meet and you strike this 11.12, it means you still can't have it at another time. You would be restricted. So in any case, if you want to modify the time at any point, you would have to modify, you'd have to go through 11.12.
I see. Whoa. Abby, you have a list?
I'm just gonna talk through your mic if that's okay.
Go for it.
My suggestion is that we strike 11.11, just asking for the when to meet and just send out the when to meet. But you should keep 11.12 because it gives you the flexibility to, if enough counselors answer fast enough, that for the next one, you guys can have a different council meeting rather than having to make a time like this work, which is awkward for multiple members of council and execs. That's my opinion on that.
Yeah, I also agree. 11.12 sounds like the important one. So I'd say we're an affirmation to strike 11.11. We keep 11.12. That's very good. I move. Would anyone like to second?
History.
History seconds again. Fantastic. I don't suppose there's going to be discussion. I seek unanimous consent. Very nice. Seeing no dissent, this amendment would also carry unanimously. And now I truly believe we should be done with amendments for this meeting's agenda. Does anyone else have any amendments they bring in mind?
One is maybe voting on regrets.
Oh, Right. There is also the task of adding regrets. I say be it resolved to amend the agenda to ratify the regrets of 3 counselors who submitted regrets in earlier. Nicholas Bolina from biology, Ava Wood from criminology, and Karishma Said from interactive arts and technology. So they basically could not make the meeting today. They've notified me in advance. We are ratifying their regrets inside. That is usually a process that's going to be happening for every meeting from now on. I move. Anyone like to second?
History.
I'm afraid I heard history again. Okay, history seconds. I don't suppose there's going to be discussion here either. Seeking unanimous consent. Fantastic. This amendment also passes unanimously. Now are we done with amendments?
You just gotta take your vote on the amended agenda now. Unless someone else has amended.
Right. If anyone else has any amendments to make, I would like to hear them. Okay. Seeing none. Now we would be going to vote it, but now we would be going to vote to adopt the agenda as amended. So I would move. May I get a second?
You already got a mover and second.
Oh, we already got a mover and second. I forgot. We go straight to voting. I again am seeking unanimous consent. Oh boy, seeing none. The amended agenda is now adopted unanimously. Fantastic. Oh boy, we're glad that is done. Now we can get to the actual agenda things. We can start with item 6, which is going to be a presentation. I'm assuming Soka would be here to make the presentation.
Hi, yes, I'm just gonna share my screen.
Of course. Let me know if you have permission.
Okay, it says, I think you need to stop sharing.
I'll stop sharing right now.
And then also hit that thought right there. And then multiple participants.
Oh, I see it. I see. Okay.
All right, are y'all able to see my screen?
We can see it.
Okay, perfect. So let me get started. Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Yaye, and I'm just going to get into the presentation of Soka's Wellness Retreat. So first, I'd like to acknowledge that Soka space is situated on the traditional unceded homeland of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh and Katzie nations. So I will just start off with talking about Black wellness. So Soka's Black Healing Space. Soka had the good fortune of hosting a Black Healing Space, a space that promotes emotional and psychological wellness within the Black community, which skillfully was facilitated by Tiara Cash, a graduate student at SFU. Soka members, let me just go back quickly. What's going on? There we go. So Soka's members were provided with a comfortable environment where they could openly discuss their challenges, achievements, and endeavors in life with one another. This facilitated an atmosphere of sharing and empathy where individuals felt supported and valued within the community. So what does Black wellness look like? For mental health, Black healing spaces that promote insightful discussion. Emotional health includes engaging in gratitude practices and connecting with the Black community. Physical health, examples of that would be different exercises like swimming, running, and yoga. And spiritual health, meditation and religious activities can provide spiritual guidance. Why Black wellness is needed. First and foremost, that would be for safety. A safe and open environment allows Black individuals to freely share their struggles without fear of judgment or discrimination. Closure. By providing a healing space, Black individuals are able to experience closure and let go of emotional or physical burdens, resulting in a sense of liberation. And representation. Increased availability of Black healing spaces can help Black individuals feel represented within the community and facilitate their inclusion in mental health discussions. I will now pass it on to Amina to talk more about the wellness retreat.
So, hi Council, my name is Amina, and I just want to talk about the proposed wellness retreat that SOCA is hosting. So this upcoming retreat focuses on enhancing well-being within the Black community and will span across 4 days. So during these 4 days, we're going to be having activities and teachings aimed at fostering emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual awareness. So on the next slide, I'll just show you a retreat breakdown. So it's going to be happening in Chilliwack, BC, where it will be 4 days. And during these 4 days, we're going to be having facilitators, activities, games, and other engagement that will be fostered towards mental health towards Black students at SFU. So if you go on to the next slide, we'll have attendees. So we're going to be having a total of 28 attendees, with 5 of them being confirmed SOCA executives, whereas the rest will be SOCA membership. So how the attendees will look, we'll be sending out a sign-up sheet. And this sign-up sheet is going to be basically looking at the accessibility of the individuals who want to come, whether it's waivers and anything else that they need. Also, we'll be having just a bunch of accommodation for individuals, and how this sign-up sheet and selection process will work is we'll have SOCA executives and our temporary Black Student Support Center coordinator, Mary Fan. She'll be helping us select members for this retreat so that the selection process is as fair as possible, and also to ensure that the access needs of all the potential attendees are met, and these are things that SOCA can provide. And with the sign-up sheet comes with waivers, just to make sure that both SOCA and SFSS are not liable for any damages, losses, or any other inconvenience that might happen on this retreat. And also it will outline both SOCA and SFSS's involvement. So with the attendees, we're going to be having a mandatory training session. So when all of the attendees are chosen, obviously these training sessions are required, and if they cannot make it, they will have to tell a SOCA executive, and we will find time to actually give them this session. With the whole session, it will outline the waiver, expectation on the retreat, and overall breakdown of what the retreat will look like, and also the behavior of the attendees and what it's going to look like while they're actually on the retreat. So there will be no alcohol consumption nor possession of any alcohol, no smoking, or any gadgets that an individual can smoke with on the retreat, and no inappropriate conduct behavior that will be permissible on the trip. So in the next slide, just safety and accessibility. With transportation, we'll be having a round trip bus ride that will take us to Chilliwack and back to SFU. And this bus ride is going to start at the SFU Burnaby campus. So if any individuals is having trouble getting to SFU, we will be most likely providing an Uber or an Evo to get them up there, but that's only if they are unable to get to the Burnaby campus on time. With accommodations, obviously with the sign-up sheet, we're going to be listing out any restrictions or accessibility that individuals will need. So an example of this could be dietary restrictions, religious accommodation, or accessibility accommodations. Obviously, this is subject to change. We can have more accommodations or even less, whatever the members and our attendees need. With location, as said earlier, it is a nature-filled environment. It is a safe and accessible location. Paramedics, emergency, or anything are able to get up there because the roads are very, very clear. Hopefully we don't have to paramedics or any emergency there. And lastly, for pricing, this is an all expense paid for trip. Hopefully that no cost will be allocated towards any of our attendees. And with pricing comes the cost breakdown. So our first cost breakdown is for accommodation and transportation. So the actual accommodation is the Park Place residence fee. So this is the actual place that we'll be staying. And the fixed price is $4,564.12. This is the fixed budget. It is not going to change. And moving on to transportation, we have the actual area, which is the Pacific West bus rental. This is going to be round trip, so they're back. And our fixed price is $2,248. So next stop, And we have food costs and facilitators. Obviously, while we're on the retreat, we don't actually have any food that will be there for us to cook. So we're obviously going to have to buy some food. So we're just going to grab some essential food items from Costco to buy it in bulk. And we've allocated around 1,500 for this. We're going to try to stay within this budget and make sure we don't go over or under. And for facilitators, as I said earlier, we're going to have 2 facilitators who are established in doing mental health awareness activities. And the $1,000 is allocated towards honorarium and any other needs that these facilitators might need. And both of these are the non-fixed budget, but we will soon finalize them. And just a total cost breakdown with everything that is included with both the fixed and non-fixed budget, we have around $9,304.12 allocated towards this retreat. Obviously, this is not fixed, and we hope to fix this budget soon. And the reason why we are coming to council today is for a financial request from SFSS for $10,000. Obviously, this request is a little much, but hopefully, if the council members agree upon this, it'll definitely help SOCA a ton, as we will not have to take a lot of money out of our budget to accommodate for this retreat. And obviously the benefits of this retreat will be very, very helpful to not only the Black students at SFU, but the greater engagement towards SFU and other SFU clubs and events and SFSS as a whole. And obviously, if we don't use all of the $10,000, we'll definitely allocate it towards the non-fixed budget and also any more additional costs that we'll need. But this budget will definitely help us. In our next slide, we'll be talking about the benefits.
Okay, so the retreat aims to promote wellness discussions and encourage active engagement among members of SOCA and Black students at SFU in order to facilitate their personal well-being. So some benefits of the retreat include increased discussion of mindfulness and wellness, engagement towards SFU/SFSS, the well-being of Black students as a greater whole, and then greater work-life balance. Why we need a wellness retreat? To promote a healthy and positive mindset among Black students at SFU, which is essential for the growth and development of the Black community, to improve the overall wellness of Black students who may be struggling with different aspects of their health, and to transform the well-being of Black individuals encompassing their mind, body, and soul, to equip them with the tools they need to thrive as racialized individuals. And yeah, that is the end of the presentation. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. Just stop sharing.
Okay, I'm assuming the presentation is finished. Now would be a period of discussion time. Oh, Abby, I see you got a list.
Yeah, first of all, I wanted to say good presentation. I'm always glad to see a budget breakdown. That's always something I appreciate. So thank you for doing that. I had 2 questions for you, one of which may just be me not seeing the first part. I don't know if it was mentioned how long the retreat is. So if you have information, that'd be spectacular, or I may have just missed it. You may have said in the beginning, that's my mistake if I missed that. My second question would just be if SOCA applied for a grant through the typical grants process, as typically when asking for money from council, you're also supposed to apply to the grants process using SFSS Go. But yeah, good presentation. Those are my questions.
Yeah, Abby. So in the presentation, I'm sorry, I don't think we made it explicitly clear, but it is going to be 4 days. So from July 6th to July 9th, so the Thursday to the following Sunday. So that's what it's going to look like. And for the grant request, we did not actually apply for it just as of right now, as we thought it would be better to just go to council ourselves, since it is such a huge budget. And we did not think that a grant would be able to all encompass that. But obviously, if it does, then that would be a great idea. But we just thought council would be a better fit. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that does. Thank you.
All right then. Oh, we've got quite a few lists to go through. Ayo, you are the next list.
Sure. Okay, I just have a question. Well, it's more of a broad, I'll stick with one question till we get to the motion. What is the selection process for the other SOCA members who are to be added onto this retreat?
So the 5 confirmed SOCA execs, is that what you're asking?
No, the 23 other SOCA members.
Oh, so how that's going to work is obviously there's going to be some SOCA executives who won't be present at this retreat, so they'll be the ones who will be choosing it. But the individual who will be choosing the ones who are actually chosen is all going to be by our coordinator, Mary Fan, and she's going to be setting out a list of how this is going to work. So usually it's just going to be first come, first serve. So how many people just come in. If we get around the 23 people, we'll do it. But obviously, if there's a lot of people that want to come on this retreat, then we'll try our best to accommodate and do the best fit of people. I hope that answers your question a little bit.
Sure.
Priyanka, you are the next list.
Yeah, thank you guys for putting that presentation together and for the breakdown. Guess I just had a clarifying question regarding the motion. So I know the motion on the agenda right now is for 10,000, and I believe 5,000 was passed previously for accommodations at the BIPOC committee. So I was just wondering if this is going to be so an additional 10K, so 15,000 total, including BIPOC, or if the motion needs to be amended to account for the 5K already passed, so passing another 5,000 today.
So for the BIPOC committee, that was a separate motion that we did. So this $10,000 is going to be in addition towards it. So basically $15,000 will be allocated towards this, but we also have a lot of money that is coming out of SOCA's funds to accommodate towards this. But yes, we did take money out of the BIPOC committee.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. I just need to know if the agenda needed to be amended anyway.
Okay, thank you. Cindy, you have the next list.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask about that as well, because I think the 5K went towards accommodation. So I think in terms of the other breakdown, it would have been closer to 5K for those pieces. So I just wanted to clarify that as well. But if this is in addition to, I think that's fine as well. We might just need a revised proposal for that. And I think Abby mentioned this earlier as well, like the procedure that we typically follow is that we would apply for a grant for these things, and then, you know, for the remaining amount, if you still need more funding, you would come back to council to ask for that extra amount. And I think that also gives us the time to kind of allocate a line item to it as well. So just a few things to consider, because I think we will have to amend the motion regardless to assign a line item. So just a few pieces to think about.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. Thomas, you have a next list.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I just wanted to ask, because you guys said that the total cost was around almost just under 10,000, right? But if you already have 5,000 that you're allocating towards this, then why do you need an additional 10,000? Wouldn't you just need 5,000? And also on top of that, SOCA has a budget of over 100,000 each year. So couldn't you guys just take that out of SOCA's budget?
Oh, okay. So sorry if I made this a little confusing. So the 5K was towards something else. It was towards the retreat, but that funds is already used. So the reason why we're coming towards the 10K from council is just to accommodate the rest of the budget. So there was, of course, we have to pay for the rest of the accommodation for the actual place, as well as transportation, food, facilitators, and anything else that we might need. And also with the SOCA budget, a lot of our SOCA budget is allocated towards other events and other initiatives, and we cannot just take all of our money that is already based on a lot of our events for the semester and take that and put it all towards our retreat, because a lot of when we do make our budget, it's for the whole year. It's not for a specific semester. So it'd be kind of awkward if we just change it around and mix it up. if that makes sense.
I see. Okay. Thank you, Thomas. Andrew, Nathan, you have your list as well?
Hi, I've got a question. If we could hear from our SFSS VP Finance to give us a state of financials on where this money would come from and if we have enough or how much we have.
Oh, that's a very good point.
Yeah, so
Andrew,
in regards,
oh, sorry, my bad. Go on.
no worries, I'll be quick. So in regards to that, we are already running, I believe many of you know, we're already running a pretty large deficit, upwards of $1 million. Also in regards to this motion, Soka, you didn't present to me a line item where it would come from. When it says given to or to be determined to be determined by VP Finance, I mean, sure, like everyone says that, but no, that's not really how this works. Like you need to give me a line item at the very least. So I don't just pick that. It's for you guys to decide. At the very least, the budget, well, first we need to figure out the line item where it's going to come from, and that's going to come from SOCA themselves. And it is important to note that we are already running a pretty hefty budget this year also. Just for example, the SFSS execs, like me and the other exec members as well, we aren't even going on our retreat that was scheduled for us too. So I mean, you know, it's tough this year, that's for sure. That's all I can say at the very least. But we're running a big deficit and I need a line item. So then when we figure this out, then I can answer your question.
Thank you for that, Jed. For those of you counselors who are new, yeah, SFSS is going flat broke real quick. It's an issue that we're gonna have to work on later on down the line. Let me take a look at further list. Oh, sorry. Amina Hassan. Oh, you would retract your direct response. Noted. Thomas, you have the next list.
Yeah, so it says here, Park Place residence fee is for $4,564.12. And the thing is, this is supposed to be for 4 days. So if you're saying you already paid $5,000, right? Then why do you have to pay an additional like $4,500 for this?
Oh, okay, sorry. So for the 5K, that was for the down payment for the place. Since initially when we were trying to get the original area, a lot of the times the business owners were saying that we could not actually grab the place until we put down a direct deposit first, so like a little down payment, and that down payment was pretty expensive, so that's where the 5K was allocated to. And also it was also for the head count fee with the place, since the place is only accommodated exactly 16 people. If we wanted to bring more, we'd have to pay more money for the people that were wanting to bring on the trip. So that's why we just say, that's why the rest of the money from BIPOC also went to that fee. But there's also still more fees that we have to pay for, and us SOCA, we can't pay for all of that. So that's why we're coming to council to request it.
I see. Thank you, Thomas. Io, you have the next list.
Okay, so I have 3 questions and hopefully a conclusion statement. What position is the motion on the agenda for this particular presentation? That's for president.
Got it. Understood. The motion that this would be was previously 11.11. It's going right after motion 10.3.
Okay.
Amendment was, yes, that's how we amended it. So
okay,
wait, sorry, no, 10.4. It's going right after the migrant student united motion.
Okay. Okay, second question, this is to SOCA. Do you guys have any idea how much SOCA has come out of SOCA's budget for this event already?
So we've allocated $4,000 towards this event, but if anything else needs to be allocated towards this event, we are more than happy to take it out of our budget, but $10,000 and the rest of it that we need allocated towards it is a little excessive, as we are going to be hosting other events that are already allocated towards our budget, so we can't just move it around.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's fine. I wasn't trying to grill you. I just wanted to know like how much you guys have already spent on this, so that like, then finally, I just want to say that I move that we close the speakers list here. Since this motion is going to come up later on, we can have an extended discussion there. But for the sake of anyone who is around for like preceding motions, I feel we should move through this meeting considering how large our agenda currently is.
Oh, I do agree, and I would second that. Emilio retracts the list, fantastic. So does everyone agree, seeking unanimous consent, that we retract the speakers list? Okay, fantastic, seeing no dissent, the speakers list would close now. This would conclude the presentation, item 6. You could now be going to, the next stop on the agenda would be reports from committee, executive committee reports. So in a nutshell, what this is that all the exec members of the SFSS, including me, would be giving a 1-minute spiel about the things that we've been doing up until now. And it's basically like a progress report that we would present to you, counselors, from our part. So, Ayo, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming we all go one by one. We start with me.
Yeah, we'll go one by one in the order of the roll call.
Fantastic.
Normally we'd have a presentation ready, but I guess since we didn't receive proper onboarding, none of us had the presentation ready for today. So starting from, I think, maybe the next fiscal month, we have to have a presentation present for the meeting.
You're on reports for committees,
Right.
Didn't you amend the agenda to bring up? So or was that later?
No, we're talking about executive committee reports. Fantastic. Okay, so I guess start with me. And right, like Ayo said, we're going to be talking about all this verbally, like real quick. So like for me, I've been doing operational check-ins. I've been interviewing certain building assistants, hiring a temporary building coordinator at one point in time. Various meeting with various members of staff. Been spending quite a bit of my time as a new recruit, as a president, just meeting new staff members here and there. There was one big noteworthy meeting I had with the Minister of Post-Secondary Education, Selena Robinson. Over there, we basically talked. Pardon?
Ann King. Her name's Ann King.
Oh, Ann King. We've talked with the Ministry of Post-Secondary Education. Basically, the stuff we discussed there was basically the financial and the living status, academic status of various students, Indigenous students around SFU as well. I shook hands with Joy Johnson at one point. That's something. And other than that, it's just volunteering various hours at the booths on club days. So that is what. That concludes it for me, VP Internal.
Yeah, hi. So most of my stuff that I did was I created the council onboarding course. I talked to a lot of staff about it. I've been like, if you guys have taken it, I am the one that's marking all of your stuff and looking through it. And I do actually read the responses, and they've been very nice. Some of them have been actually amazing, and I've learned some stuff from you guys, which was really nice. Yeah, attended so many meetings, just like emailing back and forth with people. For my very beginning, I just went through all of the governing documents and was just reading policies and our bylaws and trying to understand everything as VP Internal and what my position is to get more situated with my position. Yep, lots of meetings. Yeah, met with the minister as well. Went to clubs days. Yep, that's about it.
Oh, sorry, forgot I was muted. Thank you, Internal, VP Finance.
All right, hello everyone. So yeah, it's been a very interesting first 2 weeks, almost a month actually at this point. In terms of what we've been doing, well, we've been very much so learning how to do our jobs. A lot of replying to emails, a lot of meetings, some into the late night as well. It's not so common now, but I'm sure it'll be common later on in September, especially. Of course, a lot of replying to emails as well. a couple big things was welcome week events as well as club day events. If you guys saw me there, I was waving around to everyone every now and then. So that definitely took up a while as well. So far I have not set up any projects or events so far. Not really any committee work either. It's just pretty much a lot of meetings and replying to emails at this point. But I'm sure after this month, if that is subject to change, I have no doubt about it.
Jed, you're also in Montreal for student care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you too. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. We can now go to Thomas, VP University Academic Affairs.
Oh, yeah. Hi. So, hi everyone. As you know, I'm VP UAA. So what I've been doing lately, had lots of meetings with university staff. Been trying to schedule more. Just been doing lots of emails. Honestly, I've also been around for Welcome Week and Clubs Day. Was in Clubs Day in Surrey earlier. And as for committee work, haven't had any University and Academic Affairs Committee meetings yet, but we'll have more of that in the future.
Thank you, Thomas. Okay, VP External.
Hi, sorry. So I've done a few things, mainly just a lot of meetings. We've done one with the execs with student care. I also was part of the meeting with Minister Robinson. That was a great meeting, but I have also done a lot of admin work, especially with setting up meetings through emails and things like that, as well as kind of following up with meetings that I've kind of already had. I helped out with Clubs Day, Welcome Week, kind of those events that we kind of had in the beginning of the year. Not a lot of committee work. I will hopefully get to that in the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. VP Equity.
Yeah, so like everyone, first few weeks have been a lot of just stepping into the role, figuring out what's going on. I've had a few check-ins with the former VP Equity Sungyeon to kind of figure out where she left off and where I can pick up on her work. I've had a chat with our VP Internal regarding the council orientation canvas course to ensure orientation was more accessible this year. I've also been at Clubs Day. I was at Clubs Day Birdview last week, and I was at Surrey today with Thomas, VP UAA. And yeah, I've also had, apologies, that's my doorbell. I've also been in and out of meetings. I've met with the SFU EDI director, and we're currently in the process of doing consultations with other universities and figuring out their EDI tools and what we can implement here at SFU.
Thank you. VP Events. VP Events.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. Whew. It's been a bit of a whirlwind. But in general, I have started planning various events for the upcoming semesters. So far, they're still in the planning phase, but I can't really explain anything here right now. I was also present to meet with the Minister of Post-Secondary Education when she came in. What else have I done? I also helped organize and attended a bit of Clubs Day as well. Also helped out with the services fair as well, and organization as well. I've had meetings with various SFU bodies in terms of events such as the Welcome Week. I also helped with the Welcome Day SFSS tabling as well. And I've also been attending a number of meetings in relations to events, both SFSS and non-SFSS, as well as clubs. I've met at least once with the club coordinators. We've also met with student care in regards to our current plans and everything else. And I think that is the bulk of the work I've done so far.
Sorry, I was still muted. Thank you. This would safely conclude our executive committee report. Let me take a look at the stuff that we would have next. We can now go to business, specifically old business. I think I can go back to sharing my screen now, just for accessibility reasons. Yeah, I'm assuming everyone can see it. We can start off with, right, 10.1, SFU Surges Storm Hacks Grant. A bit about this. Oh, I can talk about this later on. Right now, we just take care of the necessary components first. I move. Would anyone like to second?
Second.
VP Events, seconds. So whereas Storm Hack is one of SFU's largest hackathons, organized by SFU Surge, and held their event on May 20 to 21st in the Student Union building to connect 150 SFU participants across disciplines. Whereas SFU Surge submitted a grant request last month over the allocated amount that could be approved by VP Finance, be it resolved to approve $16,288 to reimburse SFU Surge's Storm Hacks event from item 4000G. I appreciate the fact that they included a line item inside. That's very nice. So
I submitted, so I should start it.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So in regards to this event, the hackathon is an event that happens, I think, semesterly. They have a weekend where they hold a hackathon competition that is open to SFU students as a whole. And the thing was, they did submit this on time. They submitted this, I think, they submitted this way back in April, but due to some complications and personal falling outs within the SFSS, at that time, the votes were not able to, the vote was not ever, there was never a chance to address the actual votes. And as such, they had to go forward using some of their own funds. They had submitted everything, the documentation, the motion had been submitted. They filled out all the necessary paperwork and everything. So in reality, this vote was supposed to have been done in the last fiscal year. So all that's happening is they've already held the event and they have already used the funds. So this vote is to recompensate them, as it was expected that they would have received these funds by last year.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And assuming that was Io's complete list, I want to add a list of myself to specifying that this event is very, this whole situation, it's quite special. It's not something that would normally happen as procedures go by. This was, quite out of order. Mainly this was due to bads on, the exec's part. And normally the process of such a grant, especially ones of this magnitude, they would not go through processes like this. But in this case, we're making a special scenario for this one. And so because it's already been approved at one point, and because that, they've already been, these people from SFU Search have already been assured from the exec side that the event funding would go through, and the event has already happened. It's May 20 and 21st. Now it's already May 24th. So that means various allocations have already been spent on their part with cautious approval from us. Oh, sorry, you got a direct response?
No, keep going. When you finish, then I respond.
All right, then. So because of this communication that's already been happening, I highly suggest that we would move forward with this motion and give them the allocation that's due. That's basically it. Io.
Just for clarification towards council, if you do feel that the amount stated here is excessive, please raise your voice. Please raise your opinion and explain your stance. This is not. It's not. This is an amount that they quoted to us, and it's an amount that they are asking for. It's not definitive that we are not obligated to give it back. Just so you understand, this is just there out of goodwill on our part, and at the same time, if there's any complaint with this particular amount, please voice your opinion. That's all I have to say.
I completely agree with that, and that would go to just about any other allocation that we would see in the rest of this agenda or future meetings. Priyanka, I see you have the next list.
Yeah, I think it's kind of already been said, but I just want to emphasize that this is, we generally do not pass things retroactively. If this were to happen in the future, it's not something that we welcome. Ideally, we want motions passed prior because it does put whoever requested funds in a difficult position in the case it does come to council and it were to not pass. So ideally, you always want to make sure that you are getting the documentation in time, which SFU Surge did. Unfortunately, the vote was not able to occur. But you just really want to make sure that all the processes are being done and you're getting that funding prior to scheduling anything.
Yes, I completely agree with that. We do not plan for situations like this to happen a second time. Normally stuff like this would not go through. Okay. Would there be any further lists? Going once, going twice. No, okay, no further lists. Then I'd like to conclude discussion. Then in this case, I'd say we would go to voting on this motion. Okay. I'm going to be cautiously seeking unanimous consent. If you wish to dissent or have a different vote, please raise your vote inside the chat or with the raising hand functions in the Zoom call. No? Okay. Seeing none, I'd say this motion passes unanimously. Very good. Okay, as we just got through our first legit old business motion, I am incredibly proud. We have made an impact. Finally. Okay, let's talk about something less happy.
Leah's listed.
Oh, sorry, Leah. I forgot you. I see your list.
Just to confirm with the new counselors, that means that we just like passed the motion all unanimously, so we are giving the money to SFU Surge.
Oh,
it's just, it might be confusing for some. It's because like we're doing this really quickly, whereas like usually we would just call on a vote for everybody, but we're just, yeah, we seek unanimous consent just to make sure that all the new counselors understand what's happening.
Oh, that is
so,
a good point to make. The reason why I'm pushing is because we got quite a few things to go forward today, but
no, exactly, and it's wonderful.
All right, just to make extra sure, when I say I'm going to be voting by seeking unanimous consent, it's that if there are no dissents, so if nobody says anything or does anything in any way, then I would be assuming that this motion would completely pass unanimously, as in we all completely agree to go forward with this motion. Oh, Ayo, you have the next list. Ayo?
Sorry, forgot to hit the mute button. Yeah. I know I should have done this in the adoption of the agenda, in the consent agenda. I wanted to move to strike item 10.3, as that is going to be taken to the events committee.
So we have to ask him to suspend the rules. It would take a 2/3 vote.
Oh boy, quite a bit more voting. So wait, Emilio's got a good question. Will we strike it when it comes up then? When we get to the motion, I mean.
Yeah, I think that might be a little cleaner.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Well, if it's going to be cleaner, then I say we strike it when we get to 10.3. We are not there yet. There's one small thing we need to do before we get to 10.3. Century of a history counselor. Okay. Normally for sensitive topics like this, we would move to in camera, basically turn off the camera and stuff like that, because there are things. Oh, Hillary, you got a list?
Oh, it's okay. Finish your sentence first. I just want to give my two thoughts about 10.2, but just finish whatever you're saying first.
Oh,
Yeah,
of
so
course,
get your
of
mover,
course.
seconder, and all that.
Oh, of course. Okay. Thank you. Normally stuff like this would just be moving in camera, but because of the nature of this very specific motion, I say we can get rid of it on the spot real quick. It's my intention, that is. But first things first, I move. Would anyone like to second?
External.
External.
External. Okay. External seconds, so be it resolved to censure and impeach and remove from council Emilio da Silva, which requires a 4/5 majority vote in line with the SFSS bylaws. Note as per bylaw 6/19-2, the requirement for a majority of executive officers does not apply to a special meeting to council if the need arises for the purposes of initiating impeachment proceedings, in this case, against a councillor. Now we'd be going to discussion, but before that, Hillary's list. Hillary?
Hey, sorry, give me a second. How do I? Okay, sorry. I just kind of wanted to say that, this happened last year. I don't know how many of us were actually on council last year. I know there was quite a bit of turnaround. And honestly, last year wasn't really a fun council year. There was a lot of distrust that was kind of happening amongst a lot of the counselors and everything. And I want to move into this new year with just a fresh perspective, a fresh start, one that kind of doesn't carry a lot of the hurt and distrust and chaos that happened last year. And yeah, my personal opinion is just to actually just strike 10.2 off, just whatever, just to so I saw get a fresh start going to the next year. There's no need to carry the scars of last year, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just kind of my 2 cents.
Wait,
Yeah.
Hillary, forgive me, just for clarification, are you moving to strike the motion?
Or at least discourage voting against it. I don't know. I just don't think it's a good idea to just continue last year's.
No, because I'm gonna be honest, I was planning on striking the motion myself and then giving a good argument as to why.
Oh,
But
great.
if someone else is going to be doing it, then I won't.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, Liam, you can take the lead. This is just my 2 cents, but you're the president.
No, of course, I'm okay with either or.
Yeah, but that's just kind of my 2 cents.
Thank you for your 2 cents.
Thank you.
Abby, you also got 2 cents.
I do. I hopefully have 2 cents, or I'm pretty broke if I don't. I'm just gonna speak to the motion itself. It's procedurally incorrect. We have a be it resolved clause with both censure and impeachment in the same motion. That's incorrect. Those have different thresholds. This motion is extremely poorly written. And very bluntly, I don't think it takes into account the liability to the society that it provides. So I highly recommend striking this off the agenda.
Thank you, Abby. Io, you have the next list.
Oh yeah, sure. Just in terms, I don't think I was actually present for this particular motion when it was introduced last semester. Okay, I would just say that as it stands, I mean, firstly, we don't really have a basis on which to move on this particular vote. I would move also to strike it, and if council's not comfortable with striking it, an indefinite postponement.
Yeah.
We could move to strike. Do you need a seconder?
All right. Wait, Io, are you moving to strike? Or would you like me to? Because either way, we're striking it.
I'm moving to strike, and if that doesn't pass, I'm moving to an indefinite postponement.
That is understood. Okay, I move to strike. Are you moving? I'm seconding them. So in a nutshell, yeah, be it resolved. Oh, but before we get there, discussion is not completely over. Emilio, you have the next list.
Yes, could I get clarification? Under my previous council, when I served at BCIT, striking a motion meant that it could come back for one meeting after, and it's not considered dead, whereas deferring it indefinitely would mean that the motion is deferred indefinitely and it cannot come back in the same form unless the chair or vice chair or whomever is chairing the meeting at that time is satisfied that it is significantly different than what was deferred indefinitely. Could you clarify under your bylaws if striking it actually kills it, or can it come back after this? Or would it be
my
more
understanding
preferable?
of the bylaw, striking means killing it. Killing it permanently, as in this thing will not be coming back. Postponing it is a completely different matter where, like you mentioned, it will have the potential to come back in a future meeting, assuming that we see it necessary. But if we don't see it necessary, the basis of this was unjustified. It wasn't legit, didn't follow proper bylaws, has no basis to go through or exist to begin with. I don't see a whole lot of potential or reason in postponing it. I'm moving to strike it, which is just removing it permanently. Amelia, if that answers your question.
It does. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. So we've already moved and second to strike it. I like various other motions before, I'm seeking unanimous consent. Okay, I'm seeing no dissent. That means the striking of motion 10.2 will be happening unanimously. And that means that there will be no one getting censured anytime soon, in a nutshell. Thank you. Okay, now we have gotten to item 10.3, SFU got town budget approval. There was mentioning of striking this motion. All right. Yeah, okay then.
Yeah, I just,
Would we still move in second, or could we just strike this?
Honestly, I think you can just strike it now.
We could just strike it now? Okay, so.
yeah, I moved to strike this motion from the agenda. As
All right, just for like a brief run through. The spirit of this motion itself was basically just to introduce transparency for money that was allocated for something else, but that's all been resolved at this point, so there's no need for that anymore. And yeah, there's no need to go forward with this motion. I am moving to strike. I move. Anyone like to second?
I second.
Okay, fantastic. Be it resolved to strike item 10.3 from today's agenda, seeking unanimous consent. I'm seeing no dissent. That means 10.3 is completely striked. Okay, now we go to item 10.4, Migrant Student United. Oh, hold on. Before that, Amelia, I didn't see your list.
I'm listing first for this motion, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, I see. Wait, Abby, could you remind me for this motion?
So we just need to move or seconder, then we go into discussion.
What if no one moves or seconds?
Then it dies.
I don't know.
So you just ask them if there's a mover and seconder.
Okay, right. Would there be a mover or seconder for this motion?
I'll move.
You are sure you move?
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, can you figure out who that is? So you can record that for the admin assistant.
Oh, Nancy, VP External
Okay, thanks.
moves. Would anyone like to second?
I'll second.
Okay, the academic seconds. Whereas, oh boy, this thing is quite long. It might be worth our time to, instead of reading this out loud, for the interest of time, I could just copy and paste this all into the Zoom chat.
So you have to do it in blocks. It won't copy the whole thing at once because it's too big. So just do maybe 4 paragraphs at a time.
Oh, man.
Or here, worst case, I can do it in a second.
Okay, Abby, could you do it? And while Abby is copy and pasting the message of this motion into the chat, we can have, oh, thank you, Arthi, as duly noted. We can have discussion about this, and if anyone would like, I'm talking to execs, they could introduce the history of this motion.
Amelia was listed.
Oh, whoa, that's quite a few lists. Amelia, you care to explain for the new counselors here? Amelia, your list.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I've done some research on this to give context as well as where we're sitting as an organization with our finances. Would you give me some time to explain? It won't take very long, but it's very important.
I think for the purpose of clarity, a brief explanation is necessary.
Okay, thank you. So from this point of view, this Financially, this, in my opinion, is not a good idea. $20,000 is a lot of money going to an external organization. Due to falling enrollment, we have 220K revenue loss year over year, primarily from fees. So we've had less student enrollment, especially from our international students. This $20,000 would represent 1/11 of our falling revenue, roughly 1/6 of our total DSU services budget. So for all of our DSUs, we have $120,000 that goes to the service budget. This $20,000 would represent 1/6. And it is several times what my DSU, the History Student Union, gets every year, right? All of this money, the $20,000, is not for 6,000 students, not for 600, not even for 60. It is for 6 students only. Currently, we are $800,000 in a hole. We kind of touched on that previously. We may be crossing over the $1 million mark, depending on how badly our investments go. They didn't go very well last year. Our unrestricted surplus, for those of you who don't know, that's the money that we have left over from COVID when we were locked down and we weren't able to run events and stuff. So that's a once in a lifetime kind of windfall that we have. That's not going to last forever either, right? So we can't keep going and digging into that too, right? From a procedural point of view, this motion states that we have to give the MSU space in the sub. Currently, I have friends in the music and sound program who have been asking for the space that was made for them, a special soundproof room that's currently occupied by another group in the sub. We would have to allocate space for an external group per the motion, but our students are still fighting for space. This wasn't dealt with last year. I hope this year could deal with it. Due to falling enrollment, we may have to bring up our student fee this year. This is on top of our failed attempt at rectifying the issues with our health plan. None of our referendums passed last year. I ask you, how can we possibly ask students for more money when we keep sending enormous amounts of money externally? One of the greatest challenges you will face as a society this year is how to win back the trust of our students. Not passing this motion for the reasons stated, whether procedurally or financially, would be a good first step. I do commend the current executive team for not going on their retreat to try to save money. I really hope that council will find merit in my argument, whichever side you come from, to not pass this. I want to make sure that as a non-executive councillor, we can support our executive team. I'm sure Jad is wonderful at his job, but it would take, I don't know where he's going to pull $20,000 from. And we had to pull a lot of money for events from other places because we ran out.
I appreciate your
I'm
argument,
done.
but we might have to wrap up.
Yeah, it's done. It's done. So anyway, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, thank you. And to be clear, though, your arguments are appreciated, and I thank you for the explanation. Leonardo, your next list.
I just was wondering if we can undo a move.
We have a point of order in the chat.
Oh, my bad. There is a point of order. Nancy, you gotta poop.
Hi. Sorry. So I was just, yeah, thank you so much for the information on that. I just want to say that I didn't know much about this motion, but having heard that and given the financial state of the society that I'm very aware of, I don't feel comfortable with moving forward with the motion. So could I actually retract my move if that's possible?
Your move is now officially retracted.
So we're gonna need to move our
Let it be
second.
stated that Nancy hereby retracts her move. Uh-oh, with that being said, that means that this motion would now need a mover in order to go through, or else it will die on the floor.
Uh-oh.
Would there be anyone who would like to move for 10.4? Well, seeing no one, that would mean that this motion officially has no mover. This motion dies. 10.4 does not make it through. Let it be known that it's botched.
Guys, wait. Sorry, there's stuff in the chat.
It would appear all those were towards the motion itself.
Yes, I believe so.
Perhaps ask if anyone wants to speak.
Would anyone like to speak? Oh, Hillary, your list.
Hi, yeah, so I remember this conversation from like last month before like the turnover of the new executive team. And originally I was kind of skeptical of, you know, giving volunteer students money because I was like, I had never heard of this, like you're volunteering for a reason. But then, you know, a bunch of people had talked to me and said, well, it's not necessarily like a job, it's like more like acknowledging their efforts, which I think is, you know, it is a fair thing. I'm not actually still very sure what the MSU does, but it's volunteer work, and just because it's volunteer work doesn't mean that they shouldn't get, like, you know, monetarily acknowledged for it, because they do spend time and resources and energy, right? But I do think that for 6 students, $20,000, I believe, is kind of a lot. Um and yeah, so I think like that honorariums are fair. It's a fair thing to, you know, have, but that's a bit too much, especially given, as you said, you know, the state of like, you know, the like how much money we have, but also like hang on, quick math, $20,000 for 6 students, that's like what, like 3,300? I can't do math.
333.33333.
Thank you, Emilio. You read my mind. Yeah, so that's like that's almost like that's kind of more than what we earn as counselors. I don't really know what I'm kind of trying to get at, but I think it's too much. I think maybe like like trying to be fair, but also trying to acknowledge their work monetarily. I think having a lower number is a fair compromise. Maybe like, you know, my suggestion of like 100, you can change it to like 200 or maybe 50, whatever. But I think somewhere in that ballpark is a lot more fair than $3,333. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you kindly, Hillary. Your arguments are duly noted. Unfortunately, technically, we're now speaking on behalf of a motion that's already dead. I'm going to note IO's direct response, but after this, I will not be taking any further discussion on top of this motion. IO?
Okay, sure. Okay, just a few clarifications in regards to MSU. First of all, they are not a recognized SFU nor SFSS organization. They are completely external. So anything of this note would, the original motion requires that this money is distributed by TSSU, which in itself, correct me if I'm wrong, but does present a sort of conflict of interest. So any money that would be going to MSU would, in total transparency towards students, should be coming out of donations rather than being passed through a club. I cannot speak to the specifics of a particular detail, but we have had issues extending to the past year in which an organization that is not supposed to be collecting funds from the SFSS has used clubs to collect said funds, and it has caused a problem not only within our books, but also within just our day-to-day running. We have had what's the word? We've had calls from outside organizations working with this organization because they are receiving funds from us, but they are not supposed to be receiving funds from us, but they do it in a roundabout way. So even if we are to do a honorarium, this particular motion would not be the best way to go about it. If we are to come back to this, and if it is to be brought back in terms of, if this motion is to be brought back to, thank you, Pranjali. If this motion is to be brought back to council, whoever is going to bring it back should bring it back in the form of an item that's going to come from the donation line item, so that it comes out in full transparency towards the students, especially because the manner in which this motion was presented was also, there was a lot of controversy last year. There was a lot of controversy last year, especially in regards to this particular motion and in regards to some people involved in this motion. In terms of volunteer work for international students, there is the ISS within SFU as a service as well, which is why any motion in this regard should not be taken lightly, especially of a number that is that large.
Thank you, Io. Your point is duly noted. Okay. That being said, there's no voting period, motion dies, does not exist anymore. Now, normally on the agenda, as it states, we would be moving to item 10.5, but because of a previous amendment, we would be going to what is stated on the agenda as 11.13, I believe, which would be the SOCA Wellness Retreat motion. For those of you who are still viewing my screen, I will scroll down to that motion just for accessibility. Yes, it is this one that I am showing right here, running for SOCA Wellness Retreat. Would anyone like to move?
I move.
VP Events moves. Would anyone like to second?
History seconds.
History seconds. Okay. Whereas the students of Caribbean African ancestry, SOCA, is a constituency group. Oh, wait, hold on. This is submitted by SOCA. Abby, could you remind me, if they're the ones who submitted it, would they read it or do I always do it?
You always read it.
Ah, good, thank you. Is a constituency group that advocates for African, Caribbean, and Greater Black student population at SFU with a mandate to voice concerns, plan events, and programs to encourage community building and act as role models within the community. Whereas in a survey, several of SOCA's members have expressed interest in attending a mental wellness retreat, whereas in response to this, SOCA began to look into the logistics of hosting such a retreat for its membership, whereas SOCA is now planning a wellness retreat for Black students at SFU to enhance and support mental health awareness for Black students at SFU, whereas the retreat will be taking place in Chilliwack, BC, in a nature-oriented and quiet environment with a provision of accommodation, whereas the retreat itself, I underestimated how long this would be, whereas the retreat itself will cost a significant amount of money for SOCA to host its members at no cost, whereas the cost of the retreat is beyond what SOCA can financially support alone in their summer budget, where SOCA would like it for the SFSS to support this retreat that encourages Black students flourishing, connection, and community building by making the retreat financially affordable and accessible for those that intend to partake in the retreat. Whereas SOCA is asking for $10,000 from the SFSS Council to fund portions of the retreat, including food, accommodation, speakers, and transportation. Whereas SOCA has presented to Council and provided approval. Be it resolved that SFSS approves $10,000 in spending SOCA's wellness retreat. Thank you kindly for everyone's patience with this. I would now like to introduce discussion, and I agree with you, Leonardo. We'll keep discussion short if we can. Would anyone like to list?
We have Io and then Emilio.
Oh, my bad. Right. Io, your list first.
Okay, so I just have a few questions for SOCA and a possibility of us moving this motion. But okay, first question that I do have is, are there any emergency funds contained within your budget that could be assigned to this particular retreat? I mean, as a
direct response.
Yeah, so because this retreat is something that we started planning in March, and usually when we are planning our budget, we do it much earlier on. We did not actually allocate any emergency funds for something as big as this retreat. So no, we don't have any emergency funds aside from the $4,000 already allocated towards this retreat. And we don't have, and we can't just pull it out of any one of our budgets since it's already finalized. And it's going to be a hassle for not only us, but also towards the SFSS if we were to move things around as of right now.
Okay. Secondly, what you showed us was the budget that you have planned out with the amount you are requesting. Is there anywhere we can access the total budget for the entire trip, including down payments and any additional fees?
So the only actual additional fee that we paid for was the down payment, and I can give you the exact amount as of right now if that's what you want to see. But aside from that, we have not paid anything yet because we're still waiting for approval to make sure everything is done and clear.
Okay, great. And I guess final question would be, what is I saw in your presentation what you guys aim to promote with this retreat, but what is the I'll say wider reaching aim of the retreat? Because again, I understand where you guys are coming from with the retreat, but I also understand that 28 people is a bit of a small number, especially in relation to the amount of students who would identify as members of SOCA within the society. So what's the wider reaching aim of the retreat?
Yeah, so this is a really good question because we do not have a lot of people that can come to a retreat, obviously due to cost. The one main reason why we wanted to host this retreat with SFSS's guidance is to not only showcase to Black students at SFU that they have a safe space with SOCA and that we are willing to provide events, retreats, accommodations for them, but for also them to realize that SFSS is an organization that is able to help these students, especially when it comes to Black mental health and awareness, because that is something that we feel that SFSS does not really advocate for and towards. So by bringing in this retreat, by collaborating with both SOCA and SFSS will help Black students realize that the SFSS is able to ensure that their mental health and their awareness is something that is taken with extreme care and extreme caution. And that's the reason why we wish to have SFSS on our side. So also it'll also bring greater awareness to like other Black students, and they'll realize that, oh, SFSS is an organization that is advocating towards Black students, and that we realize that they understand the need for Black mental health and Black mental health awareness, and realizing that it is something that takes a lot of discussion and a lot of awareness. So that's one of the main reasons. And I think it'll be very, very helpful because in this survey that was said, a lot of students feel that if this retreat were to happen, it will bring in a lot of engagement, and SOCA will be much more comfortable in hosting more events with greater groups to ensure Black mental health awareness and Black enjoyment at SFU and across SFSS. Because we as SOCA, we don't want to be the only group that is making events for just Black students. We also want SFSS to also be in collaboration because it's something that is very, very important, especially when we're talking about mental health. So I hope that answers your question. I know I rambled a little bit.
Yeah,
My
no, that's fine. That's fine. I guess just in line of that question, with this particular amount that's being requested, wouldn't it, I just feel that like it would be better utilized in a more wider reaching event. I feel, again, I get the point of the event is to try and provide these Black students with an environment in which they feel comfortable and they kind of feel like they are being heard out. But in the same light, I feel that the number by itself makes it kind of hard to justify the amount. Because again, $10,000 is, as has been stated, it's not a small amount, especially in this council. And the main issue is a lot of events that are being held, even by the SFSS, fall below that amount and are open to the student body as a whole. So when that comparison is made, and this event in particular is for 28 students in total, there is a kind of skepticism that arises from it. It's not, I'm sorry, yeah. I'm not trying to say that I get the point of the event and I get the aim of that, what you're trying to aim for. I'm just explaining why there seems to be this reluctance to go forward with it.
Thank you. Thank you for your questioning. We have quite a few direct responses and lists to go through. For the interest of time, I suggest everyone keeps a direct response and list to a 2-minute maximum, just for the sake of this point. I see who the next direct response would be. Amina?
Yes, and then Saniha.
Right. Wait, Amina just responded.
So now I made another point. So she's
No, I made a comment that she made the direct response after her, then Saniha.
My bad, I misunderstood. Amina? Wait. Amina said Saniha would be first.
Saniha,
One's
sorry,
the
I forgot
counselor,
Amina's
the
not
other
a
one's
counselor
not.
anymore. My
Right. In
apologies,
this
my
case,
apologies.
my apologies as well. Saniha, your direct response.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty quick. I just wanted to make 2 points. One is that SFU doesn't have a huge number of Black students to begin with. And the other one is that we, like as council, I just want to remind council or council knows a lot of new people, that we have approved amounts like 16, 17K just for things like furnishings. And I think when you compare things like that, this is super, super important. And I think everybody should think about that and when you're voting.
Thank you, Sunita. And I was put in the director's one just to make sure, since I was also a counselor, he would also take priority. Io, your director.
Yeah, just a minute. In terms of Black students, SFU has at the very least 500 Black students within its walls, especially because of their advertising system that they mostly rest in Africa towards the FIC system. So 28 Black students would still be about 5.6% of the Black population as a whole, which again is why I kind of just brought up the point of numbers. And that's kind of what I was just pointing to. And in regards to the retroactive one that we have approved, I would just like to point out again, this was something that was supposed to have been debated on and approved last semester. And the only reason we did this retroactively is because the failing was on the side of the council and not on the side of the people who applied for the budget. And again, the hackathon was open to the SFU student body as a whole, which again, given that was $16,000 in comparison to this $10,000 is where the main, grievance lies.
I see.
So Amina has a direct response then.
Oh, right, Amina, your direct response.
So just to be clear, I have both a direct response and a list. My direct response is to Io. So he was talking about how the $10,000 is a little much. Obviously, if we were to go back, majority of that $10,000 is going to be allocated towards our facilitators, because these are people with actual degrees. They are specialized in mental health awareness. We can't just find random people to facilitate a mental health awareness retreat. We also have food that's going to be allocated because we don't have food that's going to be given to us in this actual place. So we can't just have these people eat nothing and just little snacks. We want them to be given good food, because that is also very, very important for wellness. Also, the actual one of the main reasons is that also one of the main reasons that it's so big is because of the place. It's in Chilliwack. The area itself is really, really big to accommodate for 28 people, and a lot of the places we found, either we could not get them because we weren't able to get them because they were all booking up very, very fast, or that the places were too far away and we were not willing to spend even more money to do all of this. So with the place that we've chosen and how much and where we are and then all the funds, this is the lowest that we could go. And we're asking for council for $10,000 because it will help us a lot. Obviously this is a lot of money, and with the 28 students, it makes sense. This is not a lot of students that are going to be coming. So for 28 students, that is not a lot of people that are going to be coming on this retreat. But even then, there's 500 Black students at this school, and the amount of other racialized and non-racialized individuals that are at the school, it does not even begin to encompass how many Black students are at the school. So yet again, neither Black students at the school do not feel represented, but they also don't feel safe. So if we're able to create a little event, a little sort of
Okay, I apologize.
Sorry, no,
I
it's
might have
okay.
to cut you off. We have a surprisingly long list, and I did not anticipate this length. I sincerely apologize. Emilio, you have a next list.
Yeah, my concern is the following. I've just found out that we have around 500 Black students. I mean, that's fine. For those 500 students, they get $108,000 per year from our budget. I don't know if our referendum, the referendum that they passed a year ago or 2 years ago or whatever it was, is included in that. But that means that they get significantly more funding per head than I would best to guess almost any other student group on campus. I understand the importance of this event. I'm just concerned that 5,000 has already been paid from BIPOC committee, and that we have another $10,000 being asked for on top of that. And that's an enormous amount of money for such a small number of students. I get the idea, I understand the importance, but it's like when I talk with my HHU president, we have to live within our means. And especially with the clarity that I have given to council with the dire straits that our financials are in, we really have to pick our battles here. And I get that it's important and I understand the planning and I commend you on that. Is there not any way, and this is a question for you guys, that you could pick something cheaper or closer or different or anything else? The second question is, Mr. Speaker, there should be a different way that they could go through this based on earlier conversations, a committee or something else for funding. Could we not strike it from this meeting and get them to go through the committee and everything else once that's up and running to get their funding through there and make sure that we do all of our checks and balances? I see right now that there is no line item on there either. Thank you.
That point is duly considered, Emilio. Thank you kindly. Emmanuel, you have a direct response.
Thank you. Emilio, I think you bring up great points, but I think it's important to recognize that I know you mentioned other avenues. I don't know if you got a chance to look at the budget, but there isn't much allocations to committees based on the cuts that have already taken place. So committees wouldn't have been effective for this size of a budget. And I know you mentioned other access like grants. If you also know the policies that govern those, any grants that's over 3K or even 5K would have to still come back to council, and that's why it came to council directly. So the other routes you're suggesting just wouldn't have worked based on one, the budget, but also because of the amount, it would have to come to council regardless. So I think it's important to keep that in mind. And I know you mentioned things about the retreat taking place on campus. That's why it's called a retreat. It's supposed to be off campus and away. And I'm sure you would understand that. And I know you mentioned quite a few things about the pricing for students. Again, keep in mind, $500, that's for 4 days, in covering accommodation, transportation, and food, breakfast, lunch, dinner for all three days, all 4 days rather. And it's important to keep, that's not a lot of money for that much. So, yeah.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Mina, you mentioned another direct response, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this is just a direct response towards Emilio. He also said something with the retreat taking place at SFU. There would no need to be taking a retreat at SFU, as the one reason why we're having this retreat is to have a getaway from SFU. We want individuals to be able to explore the outside area and also to just be able to just have a nice place to stay. Also, with the other funds, we can't go to committees because committees, I think right now they're already being established. And if we were to right now go to committees, we're most likely going to drain a lot of their funding, which is something that we don't want to do. If there's any ways that we can get funding from a larger line item from SFSS, which is why we came to this council meeting, that would be more than applicable or nice. And also just to add on again, just to say something what Leonardo said with the down payment. The whole point of the down, we actually can, like, what the down payment is that it was 5K initially, and we didn't even know that we had to put on a down payment until they told us. We just thought that we could pay the full funds when we've gotten it. They just sprung that onto us in order to actually grab the place. So we had to put the down payment first in order to actually keep the area. So now we're asking for more funds to just pay off the rest of it and some more money allocated towards other funds. So sorry, that's all I want to say.
Oh, thank you, Amina. Like I said inside the chat, I will be cutting off the speakers list after that. No further lists will now be recognized. Although before I cut them off, there were a few lists that were previously mentioned inside the text. Thomas, Emmanuel, Sindhu, and Amina. They can still go through. Thomas, your list.
Okay, so I was just gonna say, like, I made a good point about like how $10,000 is only going to be like given to like 28 students. There could be that could be allocated to a different way that could reach out to more Black students, you know, if we're trying to do something for Black people. Also, like, so I just wanted to ask, so the down payment was 5,000, right? Amina? Yeah, 5,000, but then the rest is what, 4,600. So then the entire like residence fee would have been, I guess, technically 9,600, right? Am I doing this math right, or am I tripping? Okay, so if that's the case, then why was that not like reported in like the cost breakdown? Why did you not like tell us about that? And also, if you allocated 4K, where did that go? Yeah, but you could have just included that all here, because then it would have just been more clear to everyone. Because then when you like bring things like that up and then it's not shown, it does raise suspicion. Because it's like, okay, well then where's the 4,000? And where's the 5,000? And then also why 10,000? If you only need 9.3, why not 9.5? Small things like that, you know? These are all raise suspicion. And then, so if that's the case, if you guys allocated 4,000 from your own budget, and then 5,000 from BIPOC, and you need 10,000 from us, that would be in total 19,000, which is a lot of money from our budget. And like, that would be great and everything. But again, this is only applied to 28 students. And I do think a retreat would be a great thing. Like, it'd be like, especially out in Chilliwack, I've gone on retreats in high school in Chilliwack, and it's wonderful. But I think that we could have maybe figured out a more financially stable way of doing this. Because maybe I'm getting the numbers wrong. Maybe it's not 19,000, but even 10,000 is a lot of money. So I think we should be able to like reallocate this better. Especially because maybe, yeah, 28 students have like a good weekend out in
Thomas.
Yeah.
I apologize to cut you off, but we might have to keep moving.
Okay, but can I just say a couple more things? Can I just say a couple more things?
Yes, yes, of course.
It like Manuel did say 4 days. Technically not really, because you guys are going on the Thursday evening and you're leaving Sunday morning. So that would mean probably just breakfast for Sunday morning, dinner for Thursday evening, and 2 whole days of meals. So the saying 4 days is a little misleading. It's more closer to 3, but it's like, it makes sense, it's fine, but it's more better to say 2.5 or 3 days. That's more of what you're paying for. You're paying for, I guess, 8 meals in total, not like 12. And there's a difference there, you know. But also, yeah, I think we could have found something closer, something maybe a little more affordable. And I think we should at least look in ways when we can allocate. If we're going to be spending 19,000, we can do that in a way that's more open to more students, because 500 isn't that many people. And I think we can touch them in a more better way, I guess, than allowing a small group of people. Because how are the rest of the Black students who don't get to go on the retreat, who don't get selected to go, how are they going to feel? That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Thomas. Your points are properly recognized. And because many of these questions were addressed to Amina specifically, I will allow direct response. In this one case, Amina, whenever you're ready. But I will be cutting out direct responses after this, because discussion truly has gone on for a while.
Yeah, so just to answer everything, the 4K that was taken out of our so initially that 4K for the retreat was for a smaller retreat, but we thought that if we were able to expand it to a larger population and to more members, we thought we could, because initially that 4K was not going to be enough for even 10 people. So that's the reason why we weren't going to do much. So with the 5K from the BIPOC committee, initially we were planning on going somewhere else that was going to take the 5K out of there, but because we were unable to actually grab that area, the place was lost from us. So we had to immediately relocate and reallocate where all that money was going to go to, which we did. And the cheapest place that we could find was in Chilliwack. I'm sorry, but we couldn't find anywhere else. So if anybody on council can find somewhere else, feel free to let me know. And also with the 28 students coming here, this is going to be the first ever retreat SOCA has ever done. And if we were able to actually keep going with this retreat, obviously we're going to have more members. We're not just going to keep it at 30, 25, 20. Obviously, we're going to allocate some more Black students, more SOCA membership. But this is just going to be kind of like a test run. We really want to do this only because this is the first time it's ever going to happen. And with this is there's not even enough Black students at SFU, let alone enough Black students in our SOCA membership alone. So by being able to actually host this retreat and getting as much engagement from Black students and telling them that SOCA is able to host events like this with the SFSS's help is going to be tremendous. I understand that 10K is a lot, but as we go forward with this retreat and we
Amina,
sorry.
I may have to cut you off sometime soon. We
Sorry,
have
can I just
more
say one
lists to
last
go through.
Sorry, yeah. And as we're able to keep going with this retreat, obviously we're going to be a lot more conscious with our money and we're not going to spend as much as this is from. And with the 5K from the BIPOC committee, it was used as a down payment for us to actually get the area. So that's for us to actually say that, hey, this is ours and nobody else is going to take it. And the rest of the money is going to be allocated towards that. Initially, we're just going to pay this straight and full, but because that is not smart due to SOCA hosting other events, which is things that we have to do, as in there is money that is already allocated towards other events from SOCA funds, so we can't just take that out willy-nilly. It's not possible. This is why we're coming to council, because we A, do not have enough time, and B, we can't do grants, we can't go to committees because we have gone too much money in. So unless we don't want to do another version because a retreat is very, very helpful for these students, as it is a way for them to get away and away from SFU and for them to actually focus on wellness. This is not something that is just for fun. It's something that is actually going to benefit and help students. So if they realize that this is actually going on at SFU, they will feel more inclined to go to more SFU events and SFSS related events.
I mean,
That's
I
all.
apologize, but I will have to cut you off now.
So Emmanuel's next.
Thank you kindly. Emmanuel, your next list, and we're gonna have to speed run the next three.
Yeah, for sure. Not much to say. I think as mentioned, I mean, yeah, 10K again might seem like a lot, but again, it's something that's definitely within the capacity of council to do. It's been done before. It's not going to be the end of the world. And I think it's important. I don't know why this is taking this long, but I think it's something to keep in mind that, again, as mentioned, there is a small percentage of Black students on campus, and it's important to show our support in their initiatives, especially this being the first one. And I think council, according to its policies, is supposed to support such equity initiatives. And again, as mentioned, the down payment has been paid. And if the rest of the money is not paid, the down payment will basically be lost. And that's why it's really important that this is coming to council and it is approved and taken from the right places. I know there is a grant capacity for grant line item for this to come out from, and there's, if I'm correct, there's over 100K from grants, and as also recognized, CGs don't have a grant line item, so it does have to come out from the grant line item already listed in the budget, and it is over 100K in there. So 10K is more than something that the capacity of council could handle. In the past history, I don't think the grant fund has ever been exhausted. So if this was to come out, it wouldn't be coming out of nowhere. That would be coming out of grants, if I'm correct. Because as mentioned, SOCA could not find a relevant line item to take out for this event, leaving it to come out from the grants. I think this is something councilors should consider, knowing that, again, this is not something impossible. It's very doable. Council has approved such amounts before in the past. Of course, it's still a smaller amount of students, but again, the nature of the event makes it that it has to be for a lower amount of students, and then it's also for 4 days. So take into account all of those as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Sindhu, we have finally gotten to your list.
Yay. I think Emmanuel, I mean, I kind of spoke to this earlier, but I was just kind of looking at what funding this would come from. And as Emmanuel mentioned, I think it would come from student union grants, which means that it would, or it should have a grant associated with it, similar to our previous motion for the other group. So I think what we can do, because I think we're kind of going in circles right now, if it's helpful, our student union team and I can work with you with that grant, and we can expedite it and look into that. And if it's the recommendation from the funding guidelines that we have is not sufficient, then we can bring that back. But in the meantime, the grant that you applied to will hopefully be given to you while we wait for council's approval for the remainder. Is that something that we could do moving forward?
Sindhu, are you looking for a short direct response?
Yeah, great.
So if I'm correct, the grant process has not been done yet, and because it is over a specific amount, it does have to still come back to council, if I'm correct.
All right then. Oh,
What's the news?
okay, Sindhu.
Yes, what we would do is we'd bring that grant application to council. So it would be the grant that you submitted. Yeah, and you're right, if it's over $5,000, it would have to come back to council, but the recommendation would come from the funding guideline and the operations team. So we'd make that recommendation to council and then also submit the grant that was applied. And like I mentioned, we'll do our best to kind of work with you to speed up the process where we can.
Okay, thank you.
Amina has something to say as well.
Right. Amina, you have the final list?
Just for the grants, my only, not problem, but more so just a concern is that because our retreat is coming up and there's a lot of finances that we have to finalize and get done right away, do you think that being able to finalize the grants, getting the money, and then taking it back to council will be able to be done within a reasonable time? Or do you think there would be a potential that it can take longer? Because I don't think we are able to stretch this on long enough. So the reason why we're coming to council is because we want to get everything done and ready to be able to finalize all of our expenses as of right now.
Sindhu, was that a response?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we can do our best, and council should be meeting again in 2 weeks. So that's the idea, that we would come back here. Just because you'd be using that line item 5,000 G, I believe, that would have to come with the grant proposal anyway. So I think we can work on that to bring it back to the next council meeting with the grant application.
Thank you, Sindhu, and thank you everyone else in this meeting for your patience.
We should probably ask what the next process is, because if we're going to the grant process, we want to postpone this to next meeting, right?
That is very true. This might have to be calling for postponing if we're going to be going through this with a grant process. That's true. Well, then, with that being said, I'd say it's time to amend this motion, postpone this to the next meeting.
Yeah, you're gonna move to postpone this to the next meeting.
That's true. Okay. I move to postpone it to the next meeting. That specifically, I'm talking about item 11.3, funding for Soka Wellness Retreat. May I get a seconder?
History.
History seconds. All right. I'm not going to enter this discussion for this one. I'm seeking unanimous consent. If you wish to dissent, please use the raise hand function to Zoom call. No, seeing no dissents. This motion is effectively postponed. the next council meeting.
And just as a thing, it'll be at the top of old business for the next one.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, they will have to take priority in the old business, but this will be the next council meeting. I agree, has to be done right, not rushed. It has effectively been moved. And with that being said, I'd say we'd be moving on to, wait, wasn't there, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second here. Wasn't there a section where we were doing elections?
So you want to go back to your old,
Yeah, because you moved that.
Oh, that is very true. That is very true. Hold on, I'm sharing screen a second time. Yeah, now we are going to be doing elections for the committees. Unless there are other things.
10.5, you're on next.
My bad, my bad. Yeah, now we're doing 10.5. Adding VP Finance to HRP composition. Okay, I move. May I get a seconder?
History.
History seconds. Whereas the VP Finance and Services has to adjust the budget based on the employment status of staff, whereas the previous VP Finance and Services, current VP Finance and Service, and future VP Finance and Services all think there is value to having the VP Finance and Services on HRP. Be it resolved to amend the following HR and Personnel Subcommittee terms of reference under Council Policy SO31 under composition below. So the composition of the committee would be present me, VP Internal, VP Equity, VP Finance, one counselor, preferably non-executive, the operations organizer, and the board organizer. If anyone has any discussions to make on this topic, please feel free to listen up. Abby.
Yeah, just gonna chime in on this really quickly, as this was something I talked to the previous VP Internal about, and was passed on their last governance meeting. This is just simply VP Finance used to be on HR, and then it was removed in favor of VP Equity. But looking at the composition, if a fully filled out composition is filled out, with the old composition, it leads to 4 votes, which can lead to deadlock and 2-2 ties. With an odd committee composition, you're more likely to pass things. In a committee like HRP, you need to be able to pass things. So, and given that finances are very prevalent in the decisions we make in our fiduciary duty, I think this makes sense.
Okay, thank you. Hillary, you have a list.
Yeah, I was actually on the governance committee last year, and I am also in support of this. It's very important that we have odd numbers in any like voting kind of committee, because that ensures that things actually get passed. So I do strongly advising everyone to just kind of support this, because this will make stuff go a lot smoother. Yeah.
Okay. Abby, would you like to give a quick explanation what HRP is? There's my new counselors here. Yes, Abby.
Yeah, at the request of the president, I'm just gonna give a quick explanation as to what HRP is. HRP is our Human Resources and Personnel Subcommittee. So it's a subcommittee of governance. And essentially it deals with sensitive HR matters. That's generally it. The chairperson is the president as the staff liaison officer, and then obviously we have the board organizer and operations organizer on there as well, to provide that staff support. If you want to read more into it and the specifics, you can go to sfss.ca, and under governance documents, you can find it in our council policies. It'll be SO 3.1. Yeah, generally just to handle sensitive HR matters. Meetings aren't posted on YouTube because, again, they're of a sensitive nature. So they're kept internally.
Okay, thank you, Abby. I'm assuming this is not an election procedure, so we go straight to voting process. I'm seeking unanimous consent. Assuming there's no further discussion. Seeing no dissent, I'd say this motion would pass unanimously. Very nice. Now we move on to item 10.6, financial support for precarious students. Okay, would anyone like to move?
History moves.
History moves. Would anyone like to second?
Yes, you. Psych. SU.
Okay, yes, 2 seconds. Whereas a member of the SFSS is in significant and urgent need of financial assistance to cover fees owed to SFU, whereas restoring their student status will enable this student to legally work in Canada and support themselves, whereas the SFSS is committed to supporting students, whereas this situation has shed light on the need for a more formal mechanism for an emergency bursary program, but no such programs exist as yet. Be it resolved that the SFSS Council endorse the decisions of the Women's Center and on-campus collectives to provide $7,000 in financial support from line items 886. Wait. Abby, could you remind me if this motion has been struck?
That's a good question. It has.
It
Apologies.
has. My sincere apologies. I completely forgot that we have struck 10.6. That being said, it's been deemed unnecessary. My bad. This means we are moving past 10.6 completely. Disregard everything there. We'd be moving straight to 10.7. Yes, okay. Increasing voter turnout during SFSS elections through clarifying campaign online and in person during voting period rules. Oh boy. Abby, would you like to copy and paste some things?
Absolutely.
While you're on that, I move. May I get a second?
Liam, I'll second.
Thank you. VP Academic, seconds. Oh my. I think we can go straight to discussion as things are being copy and pasted into the chat for anyone who's interested. Can read for more information. If there's anyone who cares to clarify a few things. Is there discussion? Wait, Abby, could you remind me, was this motion about electronic voting?
1 second, so I'm just so hasty.
Yeah, Liam, I'm pretty sure. Well, it's not mostly, it's more about like the campaign part. It's about like removal of like campaign materials.
Yes, this is a separate.
Like online and stuff.
Oh, a completely separate item.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Calling twice for discussion then. No. Okay. Well, if seeing no discussion on this motion, I'd say we can move to the voting period. Yeah, I say we can seek unanimous consent. If you wish to dissent, please do so now. Okay, seeing none, I say this motion passes unanimously. That concludes all the items inside our old business sections. We hereby move to new business. Now, this is all the electing part. 1.1, Events and Student Affairs Committee election. We will start with this one, submitted by VP Events and Student Affairs. Events, would you like to move? Io? Uh-oh, did Io clock out?
Shoot, wait, sorry, did you, what did you ask? I think
Move
we're
for a second
all,
for item 11.1.
oh, sorry, okay, I'll move.
Yeah, okay then, I guess I'll second. Be resolved to elect counselors U, V, W, X, and Y to serve on the Events and Student Affairs Committee for the council terms of 2022 to 2023. So just for clarification for all the other counselors here, this election process is basically for every single committee, we would be taking a select number of people and we be basically holding like a nomination period inside this meeting, essentially. So if anyone has plans to be joining a certain committee, then I would be introducing, like the nomination, time for nomination, and you can put a list in the chat that says you can either nominate yourself, or you can nominate another individual who you believe would be a very fair person to be inside this position. The other person you're nominating, should you choose to do so, has to be inside the meeting, and obviously they need to agree to be nominated. And that's basically how the process is going to go for all of these other various items down the line. And we're going to be doing this process for just about every single committee at SFSS. So hopefully by the end of this meeting, we will have a full team of wonderfully nominated individuals for every single committee. And that's the game plan. Any questions? What are the tasks and duties of each individual? Oh, that is a fair point. That will completely depend on which committee they would be inside. And hold on. So ideally, there will be a person that can speak on the functionality of every single committee. For example, Events and Students Affairs Committee. This would be submitted by IO, VP Events. And for every single committee, there will be someone who explains what each committee would do. I mean, I guess since I was not here, I guess I could explain it. Yeah. The Events and Students Affairs, it's basically inside the name. They are the ones who are tasked with the large scale events that SFSS would hold. In previous years, we've done things like a cultural nights, fall kickoff events, basically large student-wide big gatherings. They would be the ones who are in charge of those things. So the planning, the logistics, monetization, the amount of food involved, the timing, the booking, etc. That is what's going to be happening for this specific committee. Abby, you have a list?
Yeah, just to add on to what Liam said, I have a little bit of experience. I was on the events committee for a couple of years myself. On top of what Liam said, you also do have smaller projects. For example, last year, they did help to take on Munchie Mondays as well. Their events team often volunteers for various events, even if it's not under the VP events portfolio itself. For example, if the VP external is hosting like a networking night with MLAs, then perhaps some of the events committee members would go there and help volunteer. Essentially, it's a committee that you can do with it what you want. So if you have ideas for events that you want the SFSS to hold, this is the committee to join. And I think at some point during the year, again, don't quote me on this, it'll be up to Io and Leah and everyone else. I think there was a plan from the previous VP events to expand the amount of counselors allowed to join it. But that's obviously going to be up to the execs on what they choose to do with that. But yeah, this is one of the more, if you're not into policy and you're not into the bogged down nature of this is one of the better committees you can join.
Well said. Thank you very much. Okay, so now we go to the nomination period, I'm guessing, assuming there's no further discussion. All right. Would anyone in this meeting be interested in being one of the elected counselors for Events and Student Affairs? All the counselors here have to be part of at least one committee.
I would be interested.
Oh, sorry, could you say that again? I believe it was FSU counselor.
Sophie Bazio, yes.
Thank you. She nominates herself. Thank you. Anyone else?
Ooh, got something in the chat.
Oh, sorry. Ishka Bradhor, HSU counselor. Thank you kindly. That is also noted down.
So you can do a second call for nominations now. There's usually 3 calls.
You're right. I issue a second call for nominations. Leonardo, your list.
Sorry, I was just looking at something that Sindhu sent me. Each motion has to be amended to strike the word X and replace it with the name. So are we doing that right now?
Oh, I was planning on nominating like all the people as much as we can, and then we would strike them all at once. So we wouldn't have to do it every time, multiple times. I feel like that's more efficient and overall.
Oh, awesome, awesome. Sorry, thanks.
Okay. I'm calling for a third round for nominations. No. Okay then.
I'll pass on that.
Oh, Abby, you have a list?
I'm gonna randomly select someone. I'm asking if Counselor Buban Kareem is interested in joining the events committee. So I nominate you. You obviously have to accept the nominations. If you can let us know if you accept or not, that'd be great.
I'm not interested in this particular committee, so I'm not gonna accept it. But thank you for nominating me.
Thank you, Buman. My condolences. All right. Are we good? Then that means we'd be voting for 2 people to be on events.
So
3 other positions would remain unfilled.
yeah, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna strike the last be it resolved clause and replace it with be it resolved to elect counselors. So a film student counselor, Sophie Bazio, and health science student union counselor, Ishika Rator.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, I move to strike U and V from the motion and replace them with FSU counselor Sophie Bazio and Ishika Rathore from HSU-SU. This will call for movement second, I'm assuming.
Sorry, just you have to strike all the letters.
All the letters and
Yes.
replace with those 2. Okay, be resolved to strike all of them. Would this call for a mover and seconder?
Yes.
I move. Would anyone like to second?
MBB seconds.
MVB seconds. Thank you. I don't think there's going to be much discussion on this. Seeking unanimous consent. No dissents. Very nice. This amendment would pass unanimously. I'm assuming we are done with the elections.
We have to vote on the main motion now.
Right, there's also the main motion. So now be it resolved to elect counselors. FSU counselor Sophia Bazio and Ishika Rathore to serve on the Events and Student Affairs Committee for the council terms 2022 to 2023. This has already been moved and seconded. I'm seeking unanimous consent. Fantastic. Seeing no dissent, this passes unanimously. The exact same process would happen for university and academic. Is that right?
Yeah, I think Isles listed though.
Oh, Io, you have a list?
Yeah, sorry, I just have to take care of something quickly. So who is on the events committee?
You can see from the history in the chat, FSU counselor and HSUSU counselor. Those 2 only. Okay. We move on to University and Academic Committee. Submitted by VP Events and Student Affairs. I move. Would anyone care to second?
Internal.
It's 3 seconds.
Internal, seconds. Be it resolved to elect counselors A, B, C, and D, and E to serve on the University and Academic Affairs Committee for the council terms 2023 to 24. Thomas, would you like to give a bit of an intro about the nature of this committee?
Hello, everyone. The University Academic Affairs Committee was like sort of like We like the, we like discuss like, I guess, like issues pertaining to like academics and like school issues, basically, and like university policies and stuff like that. So, yeah, I chair it, so please join, please. I don't have only 2 people like Io, so please join, guys. No hard feelings, Io. I love you. But seriously, guys, please.
Thank you, Thomas, for your list. Wait. Io, did I go through your list?
Yes.
Okay. Hillary, you're the next list.
Hello. I would like to join the UAA committee election. So if for those of you who don't know, I'm actually also the VP for Psych Student Union, and in the past like year, we've been working a lot on student like experiences in like classes and seating ability, note availability, class availability, and everything like that. Like I've actually gotten to work with like the department head and got to even speak to the fasting Laurel Weldon and her, I don't know who the other person is. But yeah, like, and I thought it was like really, really rewarding work. And I would like to continue even further because I have heard that there are course and seating, difficulties and enrollment difficulties across the school, not just in psychology, not even just in FAS. So if you, so just vote for me, please, because I would like to continue what I'm doing, because I know that there's a lot of work to be done, and I have the experience, and I have the passion, and yeah.
Thank you, Hillary. You have my vote.
Next you have Sam.
Right. Sam, you're the next list.
Just for clarification, we can nominate other people to this committee as well, right?
That is correct. As long as they are here inside the meeting and they are willing to be nominated, it is perfectly fine. Yes.
I would like to nominate the Computer Science Student Society Council Rep, Mabel, for this committee.
Computing Science Student Society.
I accept.
Fantastic. Excellent. Nava Karimi, Philosophy, you have the next vote. You have the next list, I said.
Hi, I also would like to indicate my interest in joining this committee. I've been part of a couple different student unions, English and philosophy, and within philosophy, I've started to work as our director of academic affairs. And so I'm really interested in getting to work on university related issues and stuff like that. So I've got some plans and experience, and I would really like to get to be a part of this committee. So yeah.
Thank you, Nava. I'll note you down. Priyanka, your list.
Am I allowed to nominate myself as my exec?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I want to nominate myself. I've sat on this committee since first year. And these past few years or 2 years, it hasn't been able to run super consistently. But I know the first year it was great to work with everyone, and it is just related to personal issues of mine and things I'd like to work on throughout the year.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. Now, in a surprising, shocking turn of events, we have officially filled 4 of the 5 positions of UAA committee. Do we have any further nominations of any kind? This is my second call, by the way. None. Okay. I'm making a third call for nominations. Tiana, your list.
I would like to nominate myself, please, for this committee.
Excellent. Thank you. Wait, Tiana, are you a counselor?
It might be an issue. I think there was.
Yes, I am. I'm for BSU, Bachelor of Environment Student Union.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay.
Thanks everyone for joining.
I second that. Thank you kindly, everyone, for joining. We've officially got 5 out of 5. This concludes my call for nominations as well. Okay, so amending time, be it resolved to strike A, B, C, and D, and E from the motion 11.2 and replace them with counselors, with the PSU counselor, CSSS counselor, philosophy counselor, Priyanka, you said the VP equity and events there. Thank you, and Tiana Endelik. Tiana, could you remind me your counselor position again?
Yes, for BSU, Bachelor of Environment. I'll put it next to my name. Sorry, I didn't know that we had that we could rename ourselves.
Oh, my bad. Should have reminded everyone at the start of the meeting. Thank you. Okay. I move. Anyone get a second?
MBB seconds.
MBB seconds. Thank you. Seeking unanimous consent. Okay, fantastic. This the strike passes unanimously. We now move on to the actual motion itself. Be it resolved to elect the counselors of PSU, CSSS, philosophy, VP equity from SFSS, and BSU counselor to serve on the University and Academic Affairs Committee for 2023-2024. No discussion, going to unanimous consent. Seeing no dissent, this passes unanimously. Thank you. We have completely filled out this committee. I'm so proud of that. Moving on to 11.3, External and Community Affairs Committee election. This is submitted by VP Events again. I move. Anyone like to second?
Internal.
Internal seconds. Be it resolved to elect F, G, H, and I, and J to serve on the External and Community Affairs Committee. Now I'm calling for nominations. First round. Councillor Grayson, you have a list.
I'd like to nominate myself. I was on this committee last year, so I'm familiar with the sort of programs and initiatives, and had a good time last year, and I'm sure it'll be good again this year.
Thank you. Noted. EB. Any other nominations of any kind? I'm calling for the second round for nominations. Oh, Abby, your list.
I think maybe a quick explanation about the External Community Affairs Committee would be good.
Right. Slipped my mind. External and Community Affairs. Oh, right. Nancy, would you care to give a brief explanation?
Yeah, of course. I was just about to write it in the chat as well, but I can give a brief overview of what it is. So we kind of look at issues and concerns that kind of regard the students that are external to the university. And kind of from there, we kind of do some information campaigns directed towards these issues, as well as a couple of campaigns that we kind of already have in progress. So we have some lobbying where you'll be meeting government officials, different student union leaders, and different SFU administration individuals, as well as a couple food security things that we have going on. We have the community fridge going on right now. I will be bringing back the SFSS breakfast program. So that's a couple of things that you can help out with. So, and then you can also bring forth any issues or concerns that you think would be beneficial for the students.
Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate the explanation. I believe I was on the second call for nominations. I would like to now call for nominations for the third time. Anyone? Oh, Councilor Emmanuel. RHA. Fantastic. Put it down. RHA nominates himself. Very nice. Anyone else? For external and community affairs. Nancy? Yeah, you know what? I think this is worth a shot. I'd like to nominate Nancy Brar. Oh,
This is external, is it not?
external and community affairs, yes.
Yeah, she's automatically on it.
My big mistake. I completely forgot about that. Completely. Yeah, Nancy's already on it. So that means we now officially have 3 positions filled. My bad. I am incredibly brain dead right now. Oh, God. I think we can conclude nominations now. So be it resolved to strike F, G, H, and I, F, G, H, I, and J on the motion. And we would replace them with counselors EVS, CSU, counselors for RHA, and also Nancy, ET external.
She's already, you don't need to do that.
Hmm?
You don't need to add Nancy into the motion. The same way you didn't add Thomas into the UAA motion.
They've already been added, and Nancy's going to be inside the committee.
Yeah.
Seeking unanimous consent. That's fantastic. We will now move on to the motion itself. Officially electing counselor for EVS, CSU, counselor RHA, and for counselors and Nancy to be on the External and Community Affairs Committee for 2023 and 2024, seeking unanimous consent. Okay, this election has passed unanimously. We now move on to equity.
No, you have to actually pass the motion.
No, it's been passed.
You did? Okay, no.
Yeah, now we move on to equity and sustainability committee election. This is by VCU Equity and Sustainability. I move. May I get a second?
Equity.
Equity seconds. Whereas the
Okay.
Equity and Sustainability Committee has a designated seat for additional executive officer, whereas there are 4 additional seats available for members of council. Be it resolved to elect Executive Z to serve on ESC for the 2023 and 2024 council year. Be it further resolved to elect councilors E, F, G, and H to serve on the ESC for 2023 to 2024 council term. Okay. Priyanka, I might have cut you off a bit earlier. Do you have a list? No? Oh, yeah, your list goes first.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I was gonna give like a brief spiel about what the committee's purpose is and what its goal is. So I'm kind of just gonna quote from the SS bylaws here because they'd probably explain it better than I will when I ramble. So the committee's purpose is to work towards dismantling intersecting forms of systemic oppression, which includes but is not limited to classism, ableism, capitalism, colonialism, anti-Blackness, misogyny, gender-based violence, xenophobia, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, ageism, homophobia, transphobia, fatphobia, and various forms of racism. I guess, yeah, that's it. If you have any more questions, but the main goal is just to work on initiatives and to find any points of concern in SFSS or SFU that we can work on to make SFU a more welcoming and open space for membership.
Okay. That being said, thank you for that. Oh, wait, I think we ran over Yaye's list earlier. I sincerely apologize for that.
No worries. I was just gonna say that I nominate myself.
That is.
Isn't Sucker already on?
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Equity and Sustainability Committee. I'm going to start noting down the exact names now. Yaye Sadie, is that how I pronounce it?
Yes.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce round 2 for nominations. of any kind?
Yeah.
That'll be the time for it. Oh, Councilor Grayson Bark. You have a list?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and nominate myself for this committee as well.
Okay. Noted. Looking for any other lists of any kind? No? Okay. Round 3, calling for nominations for equity and sustainability. No? All right then. We'll settle.
Wait, Leo, no, I'll list, sorry.
Oh, Thomas, you're nominating yourself?
Yes.
VP,
Hmm?
UAA.
Yes, but I also wanted to nominate Sam, MEB.
Okay. Could you run that back real quick? I did not hear you.
I also wanted to nominate Sam Killowy, MBB counselor.
MBB counselor, your response?
Just to confirm, this is for the Equity and Sustainability Committee?
Yes, that is correct.
I'm going to bow out of this one as I do not feel I have the necessary experience for this committee.
That's a fair point.
Sam, you're breaking my heart, man. Okay.
All right. So as it stands, we currently have Yai Sadie, Grayson Bark, and VP UAA for the Equity and Sustainability Committee. I don't suppose I missed anyone else. All right then, I'd say that concludes nomination. So be it resolved to strike E, F, G, and H on this motion. Replace them with the councilors, Yai Sadie, Grayson Bark, and VP UAA. Exact. Unanimous consent. Seeing no dissent, this amendment passes unanimously. Now for the motion itself. Copy and paste everything up to the point of be it resolved to elect councilors Yaya, Grayson, and VP UAA to serve on the Equity and Sustainability Committee for the 2023 to 24 council term. I seek unanimous consent. Seeing none, this will pass unanimously. Congratulations to these new councilors for being on the Equity Committee. Fantastic. We now move to item 11.5, Black, Indigenous People of Color Committee. I move, may I get a second?
Equity.
Equity seconds. Whereas per SO 10.3 for appointment of councilors to this committee, councilors shall take into consideration councilors who lived experiences / those who identify as BIPOC when appointing members to the committee. Whereas there are 4 seats free members of councils, be it resolved to elect councilors O, P, Q, and R to serve on the BIPOC committee for the 2023-24 council term. We call for nominations. Thomas, you have a list. Wait, right before that, Grayson, did I cover your list earlier?
Yes, you did. That was just my self-nomination. Thank you.
Got it, understood. Thomas, your list?
Yeah, I wanted to nominate myself.
That is fantastic. Let me set up. Okay. VP UAA nominates himself. I've got that down. Priyanka, your list.
Yeah, can I just quickly read from the policies what the purpose of BIPOC committee is as well?
Right, I keep forgetting the explanation. Yes, thank you.
Okay, yeah, so the purpose of this committee is to ensure and prioritize the voices of Black, Indigenous, and people of color community at Simon Fraser University within the framework of the SFSS that have lived experiences of racialized folks is always considered, recognized, and acknowledged. Yeah, and that's it for me. Thank you for joining my committees, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to working with everyone.
And thank you so much, Priyanka, for reminding me of the explanation. Thank you. Oh, yeah, I see you have the next list.
Yeah, I just like to join this committee as well.
Got it. Soka counselor. Yeah, Sadie nominates. Fantastic. Okay, second call for nominations. Anyone at all whatsoever? Okay, third call for nominations. That will conclude nominations. Okay. So be it resolved to strike O, P, Q, and R from this motion 11.5 and replace them with VPUAA and the SOCA counselor Yaya Sadie. Seeking unanimous consent. Fantastic. This amendment passes unanimously. So now, as for the actual motion itself, be it resolved to elect counselors VPUAA and SOCA council. Be it resolved to elect VPUAA, so VP University and Academic Affairs, and SOCA counselor Yaya Sadie to serve on the BIPOC committee for 2023 to 2024. Unanimous consent, everyone? My thoughts exactly. This motion will now pass unanimously. Thank you, fellow councilors, for joining these committees. Sincerely appreciate it. We can move on to 11.6 now. Finance and Administrative Services Committee. This is by VP Events and Student Affairs. I move. May I get a seconder?
External.
External seconds. Be it resolved to elect Councilors Z, A, B, and C to serve on the FASC for the council terms of 2023 to 24. This calls, yeah. Chad, would you like to give a brief explanation on this committee? VP Finance.
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
Oh, would you like to give a brief intro on the Finance and Administrative Services Committee?
On the point 11.6.
Yep, 11.6, that's right. Basically just talk about what it does.
So it's just, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory as is, you know, like all you're kind of doing is like review and coordinate preparations of the operating budget. It's just you're overseeing things essentially. You provide counsel with recommendations, monitor and oversee funds, investments, assets, and liabilities. It's pretty self-explanatory from start to finish for the most part.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I would like to call for nominations. Would anyone like to deal with SFSS's wonderful financial side? I agree, it is a good place to learn about finance. This is my second call for nominations. Oh, ESSU counselor, your list. ESSU. Thank you kindly. Noted. ESSU. Fantastic. Sam, you have the next list. MB counselor.
Yes. I'd like counselor. Yeah.
Beg pardon, could you repeat that again?
I would like to nominate myself, the MBB counselor, to the Finance and Administrative Services Committee.
Understood. Thank you. Noting down the names. Okay. This would be my third call for nominations. Anyone of any kind? Okay. So with that being said, I would like to now strike Z, A, B, and C from this motion and replace them with the ESSU Counselor Eden and the MBB Counselor Sam Killowee. Seeking unanimous consent. No dissent. This passes unanimously for the motion itself. Now be it resolved to now elect counselors, the ESSU Counselor Eden and the MBB Counselor Sam Killowee to serve on the FASC for the council terms of 2023 to 24. Seeking unanimous consent. This passes unanimously. I sincerely apologize for this process that we must go through, but it is very necessary, unfortunately. We are now on 11.7, which would be the Space and Oversight Committee election. I move. May I get a seconder?
FSU.
I heard FSU. FSU seconds. Be it resolved to elect councilors D, E, and F to serve on the SPOC for the council terms of 2023 to 24. Whoa, there's a few lists. I will start with Councilor Bouban, Kareem.
Hi, yeah, so I would like to nominate myself for this committee, and because I would like to explore future space opportunities on campus. And I would also like to nominate Aaliyah from PSU and Rajdev from SAS.
Thank you. Hold on. I need some time to put the names down. That's SS. Got it. Could you remind me which council you're nominating? You are also nominating again.
Yes, so I'm nominating Aaliyah from PSSU, I mean, and Rajdev from SAS.
Okay. From SAS. Are they both inside the meeting at this point?
He was definitely here.
TSSU is definitely here. What about the SAS counselor? Yeah, I'll just ask him to respond. Oh, Raj Dave is currently driving. He said, okay, fantastic. I will note that. Aaliyah also accepts a nomination. Fantastic. Wait, Aaliyah, would you like me to strike your list then? Unless it's something different. Okay, your list is struck. Aiden, MSE SS counselor, you have the next list.
Yeah, so I have a question. What happened to the Surrey committee, like Surrey campus committee?
Surrey Campus Space Committee. SFSS does not have too much. Beg pardon?
May I respond?
Oh, Abby, you're listening.
Can I directly respond?
Oh, right. My bad. Abby, your direct response.
Yeah, so we do have a Surrey Campus Committee. SPOC would also look over spaces in Surrey, but that Surrey Campus Committee elections may not be on today, but if they're not on today, they'll be on at a future meeting. Just that answers your question. So it does exist.
Okay, perfect. Does exist. And you can't like nominate yourself today for.
So this would be for SPOC, right? So SPOC oversees all the SFSS spaces. So that'd be everything in Burnaby, including the sub, as well as the undergrounds. That would be our the area that the SFSS owns in Surrey and the small area that we own in Vancouver. That's all under the purview of SPOC. As far as Surrey Campus Committee, that's going to be its own thing. That would have its own kind of goals and such. I wasn't on it, so I don't remember the specifics of it.
Oh, we have a question in the chat. There's a Vancouver campus one as well. Would this also be included inside SPOC?
So yeah, Surrey Campus and Vancouver Campus committees are two separate committees. That's right. I don't believe they're on for elections this meeting, but again, they'll be on for a future meeting. But SPOC oversees the space for all our spaces.
I see.
So if you have specific initiatives that you wanted to do, say, like if you wanted to have an event in Vancouver campus, this is not the committee for that. You'd want to join Vancouver Campus Committee. But if you wanted to investigate the feasibility of a Surrey sub, for example, that would be within Spock's purview.
I see. It's a good learning opportunity for me as well. Right. We struck allies. ESSS counselor, you're the next list.
I'd like to nominate myself for this position for a
Fantastic.
committee election.
Noted. Thank you. Andrew retracts his list. I don't think there are further lists. I don't even think I went through nomination calls yet.
You can do a second call.
Actually, okay, yeah, I'll do a second call for nomination. Of any kind? No, okay. Third call for nomination. Okay. I'm satisfied with the number of people as is. Oh, wait, hold on. This is a special case. There are four candidates. And then there are going to be 3 positions on Spock. This would call for an election then, wouldn't it?
How many spots are there in Spock?
Well, there's 3 spots.
Yeah.
There are 4 candidates. in
Yes, we need an
total.
election then.
Fantastic.
exclusive as well.
No, I think this is for councillor spots.
Remind me how the election process works again.
So what we'll have is we'll have everyone give a quick 1-minute speech. And then up to you, again, this is up to your discretion. So we can have a question period of however long you'd like, whether it's a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Oh boy.
And then we can go into voting on that.
We'd be counting the individual votes for every single candidate then, would we?
Yes, so there's 2 ways of doing that. We can either ask if people need a break, what they can do is after the speeches and all that, we can ask people to put their votes in the chat. What I found works a little better is for us to do a roll call vote and every person just names up to 3 people that they want to vote for. They can vote for no one, they can vote for 1, they can vote for 2.
Oh, up to 3 people sounds much more convenient. That is correct. Okay, thank you kindly, Abby. I'll go forward with that. But first, the 1-minute speeches that are part of an election procedure. We can start off with SSS Counselor Uban Kareem. You care to?
Sorry, yes, sir.
Okay, you care to give a small speech? Just any kind of small intro.
Sure. Hi, everyone. So my name is Puban. I'm currently the counselor for Cognitive Science Student Society. I've been involved in student societies for a little over a year now. I've worked with SAS. I was a SAS representative. I'm currently the 4th year rep for them. So I'm very passionate about joining this committee because, as I've mentioned before, that I'd like to explore future space opportunities on campus. I feel like as a student, I mean, I've been here for like over 4 years now, and I feel like I really love the campus, and there's just a lot of spaces that we can make use of. We can have a lot of like outdoor events, and we could make more use of it. So I have a lot of ideas that I would like to discuss while I'm working in this committee, if I'm given the opportunity to. So yeah, that is all I have to say. I hope, you vote for me. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Uban. Very nice speech. Alaya, PSSU counselor.
Hi guys, so my name's Aaliyah. I'm with PSSU and I've also been working with SAS for almost 2 years now. So I do take pride in like the subspace because we've been working in person for almost 2 years. I've also lived on campus for almost 3 years now, bouncing around the dorms and an apartment as well. So I'm really passionate about future space opportunities for the Burnaby campus as well.
Thank you very much. SAS counselor, SASS. Oh, right. It's been mentioned that he was driving at this, Raj Dave is driving at this point. Then that means he might not be able to give a speech at this time. Tony Kulaya for ESSS counselor, we could skip to you.
Hello, everyone. My name's Tony Kuliev, and I'm the current VP internal for the Engineering Science Student Society. I've been a part of ESSS for 3 years for varying roles, and I'm interested in being a part of this committee because spaces are fundamental for various ESSS activities such as workshops, networking events, and etc. And so I'd like to learn more about the SFSS side of things regarding spaces.
Okay, thank you very much, Tony. That concludes the speech. Here's how the voting process would go. I will run through the roll call for all the counselors here, and each counselor, when it gets to you, they can either voice the three candidates of their choice, or they could put it into the chat. And then once we mark up all the votes from every counselors, remind me, would execs be voting as well inside this?
Yeah, just to clear my list, so I'll use that list.
Oh, okay.
So people can vote for no one, they can vote for one person, 2 people, or all 3 people. And execs do vote. Anyone on the council list votes outside of staff.
I see. So counselors and execs vote. You can vote to 0, 1, 2, or 3. And then we will rack up the total amounts of votes for each candidate in the end. And that is how we will decide 3 out of 4 counselors. Oh, Andrew, Nathan, you have your list?
Hi, thanks for the speech explaining how the voting works. That's very helpful. That's not sarcastic. I'm just trying to be nice. I'm trying to say, I don't think it's fair that we go on with voting without giving all of the candidates opportunity to speak. Maybe it would be best to postpone to the next meeting since we're already going to have Surrey campus committee elections there as well.
That's a fair point to make. It is very unfortunate that one of the counselors here isn't able to make a small speech. Counselor Tiana, you have the next list. Oh, my bad. You've retracted it. So we have the option to postpone this list now, then this motion now, I mean. Move to postpone. Oh, thank you, Leonardo. I would second. Thank you, Priyanka. All right, be it resolved to postpone the election for Space and Oversight Committee election to next council meeting. I think this is fair to seek unanimous consent for this one. Okay, sounds like a fair decision to make. Seeing no dissent, the election for SPOC counselors is effectively postponed. However, the 4 counselors that have been nominated, I am storing them because they are because they will be considered thoroughly. But for now, I say we can move on to item 11.8, which is governance committee election, right? Submitted by VP Internal. I move. May I get a second?
VP Internal.
Internal second. Okay, be it resolved to elect councilors A, B, and C, D, and E to serve on the governance committee for the council terms 2023 to 24. The most important and fancy committee. I agree with that. I would now like to call for nominations.
Oh, I can speak about what it is a little bit. So basically, just to keep things quick, we look at our society's constitution, bylaws, and policies, and we just make recommendations to amend them, or add or delete sections. Really, really important stuff. I would say this is one of my favorite things to do because it makes me feel super powerful. But yeah, and then we can also review appeals or questions regarding the interpretations and applications of the society's, again, constitution, bylaws, and policies. Yeah, except those specifically reserved for other committees of the society. And then we also inform council of any legislative changes that impact the activities of the SFSS. So yeah, basically just work on the governance documents. Yeah. It might seem boring, but it's super important, and we have a lot of like power to change stuff around internally, which is crazy. So
Oh, Leonardo, you cut off.
no, okay. What did you miss?
Just like the very end of what you were about to say.
Oh, that it's just important for like the structure of the SFSS, and that you can have a say on a lot of the internal organizational changes that you want to make if you want to change the governing structure.
Thank you very much, Leonardo, for the explanation. I agree. Governance Committee takes care of basically the SFSS policy. Should I want to change any in the future, I will be talking with you guys. Should you be on the Governance Committee? I would now like to call for nominations. Philosophy counselor, you list. Fantastic. Governance Committee. Noting that down. I would like to make a second call for nominations of any kind. I don't believe there's any other lists. Yeah, second call. Third call for nominations. Okay. Oh, my bad. Abby, you have a list?
We're gonna try this again. I'm gonna nominate Aiden.
Was I nominated?
Yes, sir. You were.
Thank you for nominating me. However, like I have my eyes on the Surrey campus, so I would reject your nomination. But thanks again.
All right, duly noted. Thank you for considering anyway. Unless Abby's going to play roulette again, I feel like we conclude the nomination period. All right then, fantastic. So be it resolved to strike A, B, C, D, and E from this motion and replace it with philosophy counselor Nava Karibi. Seeking unanimous consent. Okay, this passes. So now as for the motion itself, wait, just to be perfectly sure, not all positions have been filled. We have one counselor so far. This will need another election somewhere else down the
Probably
line.
next meeting. This is a very important committee. We're gonna definitely need to do another one next.
I was thinking the same thing. Okay. But one counselor is perfectly fine for now. Be it resolved to elect philosophy counselor Nava Karimi to serve on the governance committee for 2023 to 24. Unanimous consent, everyone? Seeing, oh, Nancy, you have a list?
Hi, I'm so sorry. I was trying to ask if I could join the committee earlier. I just couldn't like type it out in time.
Oh, my bad. All right. VP external.
So we need to amend that motion again.
Oh, boy.
It'll take 2 seconds.
All right. Be resolved to amend on the motion to now say Nava Karimi for philosophy counselor and VP external. Unanimous consent. All right.
Mover seconded.
Oh boy, I move. Anyone care to second?
History.
History seconds. Fantastic. Now I go for unanimous consent on this one. Seeing no dissent, this passes unanimously. So now be it resolved to elect philosophy counselor and VP external to serve on the governance committee. Seeking unanimous consent. Seeing no dissent, this passes unanimously. Thank you kindly. Got 2 people. Fantastic. We are now going on item 11.9, which is the accessibility committee election. I move. May I get a seconder?
Equity.
I hear equity seconds. So whereas per SO 11.5, the selection of students at large members and counselors for this committee shall be prioritized to students with lived experiences. Whereas there are 4 seats available for members at council, be it resolved to elect counselors I, J, K, and L to serve on the accessibility committee. Okay, I am not going to forget the explanation this time. VP Equity, would you care for a small, brief explanation for what this committee does?
Yes, please. So Accessibility Committee reviews and monitors the Accessibility Fund, and it also reviews and makes recommendations of changes to the SFSS accessibility policy. We also work to engage with SFU regarding supports made available to students with disabilities and just try to promote a culture of wellness on campus wherever possible.
Thank you. I would now like to call for nominations then. First call for nominations to join the Accessibility Committee. Okay. Second call for nominations at all. Uh-oh. Third call for nominations. Abby, the roulette wheel.
The roulette wheel. All right. The list.
Your list, Abby.
All right. I'd like to nominate, do either Mabel or Lynn have a committee yet?
Mabel, Lynn. No.
I'd like to nominate Mabel Ling from CSSS, Lynn Newen from SSSS, and since people really don't want to join, I'll just throw in another name.
Oh, did you mention CSSS?
Sorry, CSSS. That's what I meant.
CSSS is already on UAA.
Okay. In that case, I'll just nominate Lynn Newen from quadruple S. And why not? I'll nominate Emilio de Silva from history.
SSSS counselor, do you accept the nomination?
Hello, my name is Lynn, and thank you for the nominations, but I'm not intended to join this committee. I want to join the Surrey campus committee like after, yeah.
Worth a shot. Thank you anyway. Emilio de Silva, do you accept the nomination?
Yeah, hi, I am very flattered by it. I do have my own lived experience as somebody in that space. However, I signed on it last year. It wasn't the most fun time for me. So with some of the changes, I don't think that it would be a positive thing for me to be on there at this time. So I politely decline. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So given that nobody is nominating anyone at all to serve on this committee, I'm going to be moving to postpone this election to the next meeting then. I feel like that's a necessary step. I move. Anybody cares to second?
Internal.
Internal seconds. Okay, be it resolved to postpone it to the next council meeting. Or maybe some other time later on. Seeking unanimous consent.
Sorry, just clarify. You should say the next meeting because any other time would be indefinitely. So just clarify that.
I'm seeking unanimous consent. Fantastic. This election is now postponed to the next council meeting. We now move on to item 11.10, which would be elections for the oversight committee. Okay, I move. Anyone care to second?
Internal.
History.
Internal second. Be it resolved to elect councilors A, B, C, D, and E to serve on the oversight committee on executive officers for the 2023-24 council term.
I can just say what it's about, just like quickly, just because in the name it just says like execs. Basically, what this committee is about, you just look at the execs and be like, okay, are they bad? Are they doing bad stuff? Are they acting by the Societies Act, bylaws, and society policies? If not, then you get to conduct investigations on any misconducts or inconsistencies in our behavior and just be like, okay, you guys are corrupt or whatever. And yeah, you just meet on that. That's it.
I was about to say, basically, we need a select group of counselors, student counselors, to look at us, and by us, I mean the execs, and make sure that you guys keep us in check to make sure no funny business goes on. Wait. Hillary, what do you mean by too late to turn?
She says to run.
Oh, right. As in to run for oversight committee? Well, I haven't called out for nominations. No, I wouldn't say it's too late to run at all. Okay, all right. So with that explanation being done, I'd like to call for nominations now. First call. Emilio, you have a list.
I sat on this last year. It was a short time, also a good time. That's typically what you get when I'm around. So I would be ecstatic if I could be on the committee again and lend my 6 years of council expertise and 5 years of expertise as an executive to this committee. Thank you.
Thank you kindly. I am noting you down as a nominee. Hillary, Counselor, you have the next list.
Yeah, hi. I would also like to run. Last year I had an interesting time due to some executive members' behavior being hunted for this. There were some executives who treated me very kindly, and I wish I had a chance to speak up then, but I did not because, I didn't know how and I didn't know if I even could. So I think I want to kind of, make 2022 Hillary very happy by kind of changing things up this yeah, changing things up this time. Anyway, yeah.
Thank you, Hillary. It's incredibly sweet to hear that. I'm calling for nominations for the second time. Okay. That concludes the second call for nominations. I'm calling nominations for the third and final time. Anyone care to nominate themselves or anyone else to be on the oversight committee? All right, seeing none. I'd say we have 2 counselors at the moment right now, and we have to continue electing the rest of the members some other time. But for now, be it resolved to strike A, B, C, and D from this motion and replace them with HSU counselor Emilio da Silva and PSU counselor Hillary. Yes, seeking unanimous consent. No dissent. This passes unanimously. So now officially be it resolved to elect HSU counselor Emilio and PSU counselor Hillary. Be it resolved to elect counselor Emilio da Silva, PSU counselor Hillary Sway to serve on the oversight committee for the 2023 to 24 council term. Oh my gosh, I'm not even close. I am so sorry for that. Hillary Choi to serve on the oversight committee on executive officers for 2023-2024. I'm seeking unanimous consent as usual. And seeing no dissent as usual. This now passes unanimously. We can now safely move on to motion 11.11. Oh, I remember we would strike this motion. We'd be moving straight to 11.12, which is modifying council meeting time mentioned in council policy. This was submitted by VP Internal. I move. Make it a second.
History.
Okay.
History second. So whereas council meetings should be flexible to council members' schedules, be it resolved to strike R 7.6 and replace it with, it suggests that council meetings shall occur Wednesdays starting at 4:30 p.m. and ending at 8:30 p.m., but will be up to the discretion of the council at the beginning of the council term. Meetings shall occur on a bi-weekly basis. So before we fully dive into discussion here, I would like to make a list myself. Basically, the overall intention of this motion is that before in the past, council meetings were fixed to happen specifically on Wednesdays at 4:30 p.m., 8:30 p.m. The availability of the counselors during this specific time period, it's being put into question. We need to be sure that we are having council meetings at a time where everyone is thoroughly available and, they're not going to be in the middle of class or in the middle of important tasks while they're doing it. So we want to find the most optimal meeting time possible. And that includes giving us the power to change the meeting times from Wednesdays for 4:30 to something else. That's basically the overall intent of it. Abby, your next list.
Yeah, I wanted to say this is a great motion. I want to give credits to this new exec team. It feels like they're really getting off the floor running. And this is something I wish I had thought of. So shout out to the people who came up with this.
Thank you. Any further discussion on this topic? I'm seeing none to chat or in real life. Okay, I would like to move to vote, calling for unanimous consent on this one. I see 0 dissent. This means that this motion shall now pass unanimously. Thank you very much, everyone. Funding for right. The SoCA Wellness Retreat has been postponed. Thank you, Leonardo. Sending out a when to me for all the counselors will be the next step. Just to be sure, Leonardo, can you correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we are done.
Oh my God. What? Let's go. Are we? I think so. Or did we amend anything else?
We amended a few things on the agenda earlier, but that's just moving certain things forward to other ones. Now
Okay, wait, Hillary has a list.
Oh, my bad. But from what I see now, it's just Q&A. And then that's basically it. Oh, and then some announcements, I guess. Hillary, your list.
Yeah, hi, sorry. I'm just asking this on behalf of the person who actually asked me to submit the peak frequency budget approval. They just kind of want to know, like, is the events committee going to pass it, or is it just going to discuss it, or like how's it gonna work? Because like without the budget being passed, there will be no SFU Got Talent. So he just kind of wanted to have me ask.
Oh, I see. From what I understand, the SFU Got Talents, we wouldn't have much of an issue with passing it, but from what I see, it did not. There were certain procedures inside the granting process which weren't quite followed. And so as it stands, the status of it right now, I understand to be postponed.
Okay, so it'll be postponed until next week, or like sorry, a few weeks.
Hold on. Beg pardon. Yes.
It's been deferred to events committee, so events committee will be handling. So if the event comes back with a high amount, then perhaps it has to get approved by council, but generally speaking, it should be handled by the events committee.
No. The question was, what's the status of it? As in, it's going to be postponed, or is it going to be removed indefinitely, or are we planning on doing it later?
Right. That is the status.
Hold on, Sindhu, you have a direct response.
Yeah, sorry, I'll retract the list. I meant to direct respond. Hillary, so the process is usually in the past, this event was done in conjunction with the events committee. So it would be a collaboration. And, now that we have our committee elections, the next step would be to go through the committee and have that approved and proceed as an SFSS events or SFSS plus peak frequency event. And in the rare case that doesn't happen and the events committee is not okay with that, you can still go through the process of submitting a grant.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Sindhu, for the clarification. Yeah. I think we are officially inside 30 minutes Q&A.
So generally, I think we can ask if people want to list, and if no one says anything for 30
No, no,
seconds,
no.
we can move on.
I understand this. I was sort of looking forward to this time because, well, we're basically all basically a whole bunch of new counselors here. For many of us, it's our first council meeting. Same would be going for me. I think Q&A would be a very valuable section of time in this case. Oh, Aiden, Counselor Aiden, you have a list.
Yeah, so this is my first time too, and I just have a suggestion. So like, like when we're voting, does Zoom have like a specific poll? So like everyone can like in the chat, like so everyone can vote? Because I feel like they will be like more efficient, and this is just a suggestion.
I got a direct response for this one. That's an excellent point. It is something that we are really, really looking into right now. Specifically, I mean e-voting. Instead of having a humongous roll call where we go through every single counselor and then to the execs, something a lot more efficient and a lot more anonymous overall would just be, well, basically a Zoom poll is something I'm imagining. Of course, there's going to be some certain details that we might have to organize. Like, for example, we've got to make sure counselors can vote, but external guests who just pop into the Zoom meeting would not be able to. Certain things like that would have to be taken care of. But overall, yes, we are looking to something like that. It's just a policy that's been in the past that we've always been doing voting this way in the form of roll calls. In our opinion, it can be kind of inefficient at times. I completely agree with you. And yes, it would be a much more effective idea to have e-voting. And it's something that we would like to implement as soon as possible.
Yeah, because like when we're voting, like I'm sure like some people like don't agree, but they just don't feel like standing out. And this way, like we can actually get votes.
Yeah, I completely agree. Before, it was very possible that if you were going to be casting your vote onto a motion, specifically like a particularly controversial one, you could be intimidated into voting in favor or against simply because other people could see what you were going to be voting when it's time to cast on your roll call. And it's a pretty scary situation to be in, just to summarize it. So yes, that is a legit concern. Priyanka, I see you have the next list. Yes, you do.
Yeah, I was gonna kind of add on to that. So in terms of e-voting, that's something Emilio mentioned in chat. We tried passing a referendum to allow e-voting because this is a tedious process. I believe it's in our bylaws, but I'm not too sure, but so we'd have to alter those. Essentially without the referendum, I'm not sure if we have another way forward to go with e-voting. But yeah, that's something that's like been in discussion for sure.
I agree. Okay. Hillary, you mentioned a period of having random queue. Yeah, I would love that. I would love that. I am fully in favor of that. We could have any random questions if we so feel like it. I think now would be the good time for it. Sasa Council, you got a list.
Sorry, I might have missed when you talked about the committee thing because I was in two meetings at the same time. But do I have to be a committee?
As a counselor, yeah, it is.
Yes, so I have to be in one. Okay.
Yes.
So now I've missed everything. So I have to like elect myself in the next meeting, right?
Because many of these committees haven't been completely filled with positions yet, we are absolutely going to be holding like we're going to be continuing elections for multiple committees again for the next council. So
it's
basically
not the end of the world. I can just
absolutely not the end of the world.
Okay, thank you.
Go out of the way to make it not the end of the world. Don't you worry about a thing. There's going to be plenty of options.
Thank you.
Got option second. Abby, do you have a list?
Yes, I have a direct response.
Oh, my bad. I did not see it.
Okay. Just to clarify a little bit more, Mabel, probably not gonna have all the committee meetings next meeting as well. There'll probably be more, right? If new committees are formed or if people resign or if times just don't work out for people, things are gonna switch around. But I highly do encourage you to run for at least one committee, and people aren't limited to one committee. You can definitely do more than one, as we've seen Nancy do today. So I highly recommend, if you're interested in the committee, that you're on.
Although don't overwork yourself. That's
What
not-
if I'm pretty busy, and I'm not sure if I can devote my time to it? Can I just do one?
Oh,
Or
absolutely, absolutely.
and like I'm still not sure if I can like have time to do all of it. Do you think being a committee, like how many hours would it take?
Oh, they're quite, from my understanding, they're quite flexible with this sort of stuff. What's important is that you're involving yourself into a committee. Nobody benefits from you overworking and burning yourself out. That's not what anyone wants. I think through regular communication with the other members of your chosen committee, it's very easy to just find whatever schedule that can fit your portfolio. That's what I'm trying to say. So basically what I'm saying is if you join one committee, overworking yourself is not going to be like a humongous, it's not going to be a humongous deal. The workload, I mean.
Thank you.
Okay. And for the rest of the Q&A session, I think we can get away with not listing. I think we can just talk. Overall, I got a main question. This goes out for counselors, all counselors in general. What do you guys think of the SFSS? This is something I want to know.
You wanted my answer?
Beg pardon?
Leon, would you like my true answer? May I speak candidly on the subject?
I don't want a polite answer. I would prefer a blunt one.
Oh, heck
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, everybody calm down. It's my turn to
Please-
talk right now.
Please
So,
don't smoothen things for me.
okay,
yes.
I think that throughout British Columbia with my contacts at all the different ones
Oh,
and my service over at
I am so sorry to cut you off, but just in case, I want to remind you all that this is being recorded.
yeah, that's perfectly fine. I'm good. Right? I think that we are the second most dysfunctional organization. Only the Kwantlen Student Association is worse than us. Okay, and they had 18 people banned from the recent election for violating them. So just to give you an idea of how bad it is, I think that the SFSS has extreme promise. I think that we have a really good group this year on the executive. I really want to believe in you guys. So I've seen nothing but good things so far. I'm really hoping that a lot of the damage that has been done over the years, since 2018 can kind of start slowly being undone, and we can move forward to be more student focused and SFU focused rather than being the United Nations and getting involved in all this politics and stuff. I mean, that would be my greatest wish of all, is that we could devote what limited resource we have to have true student power. And I think that if we can do that and protect ourselves so that we don't have 17 people stepping down like last year, mission accomplished. Does that satisfy you, Mr. Feng?
My God, just call me Liam, all right?
Okay. Sorry.
And to answer your question, yeah, it satisfies me. Hillary, I have the impression you have opinions as well. I would like to hear them.
I have a lot of opinions. I personally think that pineapple belongs on pizza, but I don't think that's what you want to hear right now. But I will gladly and openly fight anyone who disagrees with me. But I want to say that I think it's really important that we actually let students know what SFSS is and what it does. I think it's I think there are a lot of good resources that most students probably are not aware of, like the Munchie Mondays. That's a really good program that I really, really love. The fact that there's actually no conference and travel funding. I just learned about this and I'm really angry because I could have avoided forking over a lot of money recently, but I didn't. And I think that part of the way that we can kind of increase just having students know about the resources we offer is to have a better image, because like if you're on Reddit, and I'm pretty sure most of you are, you've kind of seen all the threads about SFSS and the drama and the chaos. And I think it's very important that we just, move away from, this image. We've had a very turbulent last year. I'm not going to deny it. It sucked a lot of the times. But I think that if we really strive to just, building a newer image, we can actually do even more impactful work. But that being said, I do still have some trust issues with the SFSS, unfortunately, mainly because of how I was treated last year, and how my friends were treated last year. One thing that really gets to me is that we don't know what's going on in the direct messages. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I was like in a council meeting with the former PSU counselor one time, and he voted against something, and he got a really nasty, like genuinely very nasty DM or direct message on Zoom, just telling him how he was a terrible person, how they like can't believe that they were ever friends with him. I don't even know what the entire message said, but I was genuinely so angry because like what it was just nuts, right? So I think we need to also do better at protecting our counselors. Because that message was not okay, and the fact that it happened multiple times, not from the same person, but like multiple times across like different counselors, or directed towards different counselors, was
These
like
came
kind
from
of
multiple
iffy.
different people?
Well, I also kind of got the amazing end of a very lovely doxing. So
I am incredibly sorry to hear that.
yeah, that was really fun. I actually, luckily, my prof, I actually had an assignment due that day, and my prof was like, "Nope, take some time off. Your mental health needs to work first." Honestly, props to that prof. It was great, but we shouldn't have to, I have our job as counselors directly affect our academic responsibilities, right? And the fact that it happened like that kind of sucks. Anyway, I see I've started a really big food fight in the chat, so I'm just gonna shut up now.
No. I asked for this to happen. I asked for it, and I don't regret it. I have zero regrets.
There's people arguing about chocolate and strawberry now.
Oh yeah. You kind of pissed me off with the pineapple. I don't. It could have cost you $0 not to say that.
Hey, Mr. President, I have a very important question.
Well, if it's important, go for it, my good sir.
What flavor is the cake?
What flavor is a cake?
The cake that you got.
Oh, that thing. Yeah. It almost looks too good to eat from my perspective. Looks to be chocolate. That's because of how brown it is.
Okay, that's good to hear. And Abby has a direct response?
No. Abby was just in he's been in the room with me this entire time. But in case you would like to see the cake, here it is again. Look at that thing. Ain't it freaking gorgeous?
How old is that cake?
How
I guess we
old?
had it last month.
Oh, I bought it this morning.
It's not even a day old, my guy.
You guys eat too many cakes.
It's relatively fresh.
I hope you enjoy the cake. If you still want some more input on the SFSS, I'll level with you. I joined last year halfway through and definitely didn't want to be here for much longer. But I think with this year, we can put students first. If we can spend more time on events, things that students like, networking or partying or safe partying, what these events are, and less time on the legal and less of this sort of weird overhead we find ourselves ending up in. I would absolutely love that. And I'm not sure, I'm not the VP finance, but if we might be able to fix our finances by reducing, it almost feels like we're hemorrhaging funds externally. I'm not sure if that's accurate. Of course, VP finance would know, and we'll give them some time to settle into their job, but maybe pulling out of some of these external things to put some money back towards our students that pay us, that would be absolutely excellent. And above all, I mean, I don't want to act as a PSA reminder, but I'll say this. The SFSS isn't super powerful. We're not the university. We're not the government. We can sign letters. We can say nice things. but we're not, super powerful. Nobody deserves to get burned for a position where this is all we do. So don't be angry at each other. Don't be angry at each other. Don't be angry externally. It's not worth it. That's all I got to say. I would actually like to ask one more thing. Sorry.
Please go for it.
Just moved our student society CSS to in-person meetings at the Surrey campus. I was wondering if it could be done with the SFSS as an option to have sort of conference rooms at Surrey, Burnaby, as well as, of course, the Zoom call. And that way, because it was really a lot more fun when you're in person.
I'd be more than happy to meet you guys in person. I'm speaking on behalf of myself right now, but I'm pretty sure the execs would absolutely agree. I think the intention of a Zoom meeting in the first place was just for promoted accessibility to make it easier for everyone to join. But yes, in person is absolutely, well, it's preferred from my perspective, but to be fair, I'm stuck in the office all the time, 24/7 almost. So if anyone cares, we could absolutely set up a designated conference room where we can show up in person, as well as having the option to join in online. I think that would be absolutely optimal in the future moving forward. Abby?
I have a direct response.
Yes.
Just to add a little bit of historical context. So all of last year we had virtual meetings, but the year before we experimented in September and October with hybrid meetings. So unfortunately, our big conference room that would fit 30, that'd be ideal for this, doesn't have video conferencing capabilities. So we used a smaller room. If those are familiar with the sub on the 2000 level, we have a couple of video conferencing rooms that clubs often use. Like I've seen SFU Blockchain use it. We've used it for one meeting with okay success. We had some trouble with people hearing us, but I think hybrid's a great idea. And I like the idea for Senate, SFU's governing body for academic matters. We also have a case where we do it online, but we also have it in person at Burnaby, and then we have viewing rooms from Vancouver and Surrey if requested. So I think if feasible, that'd be wonderful if the SFSS is able to book this. I think it's a great idea, Andrew. Or sorry, unless that was someone else who said that. My apologies if that was someone else who suggested that.
I think you got the right guy. Oh boy. Wait, Emilio, you had a direct response earlier?
I do, sir. I just like to be cautious around coming fully back in person. I don't know if you've ever had the displeasure of doing it, but when I was at BCIT, we had a couple of very disruptive student groups come in and were disruptive during our meetings because you have, in my opinion, been hamstrung by our response policy. I don't know how you would handle that if we came back in person, if that happened. So just something to think about. Also, as somebody with accessibility needs, I would definitely appreciate the hybrid because I'm not on campus very much. I mean, my accessibility needs are so specific that I actually get most of my courses remote, Mr. Speaker. So I hope that you could be inclusive. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. If we are going to be implementing in-person meetings anytime soon, it's absolutely going to be hybrid. As in, being in person is optional, and joining in online is always going to be an option. But I do want to have an in-person option, is what I'm saying. I feel like it's going to be a good idea in the future.
Oh my God, that makes me so happy. I brought that up to the execs. I don't remember when, and to like Sindhu as well. So I'm so glad people want to do stuff in person. And also, I just wanted to say, can I talk? Is it okay?
Yeah, yes, it's okay.
Okay. Sorry. But yeah, it's we were supposed to have for like council onboarding. When was it? The first Friday, the Friday of the first week of school. We were supposed to have an in-person like session and like orientation on like our lawyer coming in and talking about I don't know, lawyer stuff. And then some other guy, I don't even remember who, but anyhow, we were just supposed to have an in-person orientation. I think instead, since that got canceled because it just there were some issues there with like planning for the event. But if everybody would like, we can definitely meet up in the ballroom, just like to get to know each other. like on council. Not even have any sort of presenters come or whatever, just to like, I don't know, chat, be together, whatever. I could definitely work on that.
We should
Oh,
have some sort of
like
wheel raffle
obviously
with
with
gift
food.
cards involved, so there's a financial incentive. That's how you.
Yeah, sure. We can do, yeah, giveaways. We obviously food. We could do like fun games, anything you guys want. We could like literally like watch a movie, I don't know, sleep over at the sub. Get like completely oh wait,
You
no,
want,
never mind. I can't say that.
36 different people sleeping over at the sun. That's gonna be
Yo, like there's lots
that's
of
gonna be like 5
space
different kinds
in
of
the
help.
map room.
I mean, I'm
Oh,
not against it.
security would love that. Okay, we can just give them food as well and they'll be fine. No, I know, I'm just kidding. But yeah, like okay, whatever we figure out, just as long as it's fun.
Yeah, I actually think that might be a pretty good idea.
Yeah, and it wouldn't even like cost us a lot because we're not like going on any retreats or whatever. We're just like staying in the sub and like paying for food. So yeah. Or we can like have a dance party. Or a really smart idea that I think Nancy brought up was or somebody, I can't remember, was to do like a prom. Like a prom for people that missed out on prom and just like get dressed up in the ballroom and like, I don't know, have music and dance. That'd be fun. Yeah, and just like host events, huh?
I don't have the best experience when it comes to proms. They don't
Oh
give
my
the
gosh,
best
Liam,
memories.
you'll be fine. You'll be
Oh my
fine.
goodness.
Give the
We'll do
best
you another
memories,
one.
you know?
We'll
I
do a
have
good
the
one.
worst story for prom. Our parents were invited to our high school prom.
we're
It
recording,
was a
we're
thing. It was a
recording.
thing. So it was the most awkward prom ever. I just sat at the table with my friends, just awkwardly drinking tea. Cause like I don't want to dance in front of all the parents. Mine didn't come because they were smart people. But like parents were there. It was horrible.
Oh my God.
Okay.
At least you guys had a prom. I had no prom. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I had no prom either. So it's like, y'all, we're doing it. I don't care.
What's prom?
Shut the heck up. Okay. I received the text in the chat that if we keep going, we have to move to extend the meeting. I was not planning on the meeting to extend this long. Just as a disclaimer to all the other councilors here, meetings under my control would preferably absolutely not go to this length. This is the first council meeting. There was a heck ton of elections involved, and they all had to move through a very, very specific process that you all had to learn the hard way that I'm not perfectly accustomed with. Moving forward, I will go out of my way to learn Robert's rules to a much more thorough level. You're not going to see me stumbling over words and policies every single time. I guarantee you, this is
oh my God, Liam, you're literally doing
this
amazing.
is a learning opportunity for both of us. So with that,
Liam, you did so well. What are you talking about?
Why, thank you kindly. So with that being said, I really don't want to move to extend the meeting, seeing as how we got 30 people staying almost all the way 8:30. I kind of want to be mindful of everybody's time at this point. Sindhu, could you remind me what would be the announcements, item 16 attachments specifically? That is if Sindhu is inside.
Oh, yeah, so there's no announcement, so you don't have to go through that one, and the attachments were just for the motions earlier.
I see. Okay, then we can get to by far my favorite part of every single meeting. I'm talking about item number 17, called adjournment. I move. Anyone care to second?
History.
I'm sorry, history. I heard external in there. Be it resolved to adjourn our first SFSS council meeting at 8:28 p.m. I seek unanimous consent.
It's 11:28. Just want to correct that real quick. I'm joking.
Oh my God.
Kick this guy. 8:28 p.m. Unanimous consent. Seeing no dissent at all whatsoever. This adjournment passes unanimously. Thank you kindly. You did it. Well done, you did it.
Yay.
It wasn't smooth, but we goddamn did it. We're done. And I'm also stopping the recording. No longer sharing the screen. Okay. If any. Leaving time.
Bye.
Good night, everyone. Good night.
Bye bye.